Because I think it'd be a thrill for you. I'm a genius.
That I know.
Hey, John,
I know a lot of people who know you and stuff, and I've heard only great things about you.
Really?
Yeah.
Who talks about him?
Great things.
Could you mention the people who talk about me?
Well, Tracy Jacobs, my agent.
Yes, Tracy. Yeah, she's very nice.
She said a lot of great things about you.
Yeah, she's real nice. She's real cool.
This is episode 9 of WINO Forever, the Deappening podcast. My name is Sarah, joined by Camilla, and once again, the great John Arm.
The great Panthro's daughter is here from the Thundercats.
Yeah, she is sitting right next to me.
Will we hear her chime in?
You might. I think she's fallen asleep, so.
Camilla, look alive. I taught you with my nunchucks.
No.
You have better hand-to-hand combat skills than Lionel does.
I'll take your word for that. I wish I knew more about most of your references, but you're way...
I thought you told me you watched Thundercats. Who didn't watch Thundercats?
I didn't rewatch it 100 times and memorize every line.
That was Mr. Cosby, Earl Hyman, the grandfather on the Cosby Show, did the voice of Panthro.
You've told me that. I apologize. Okay, how are you today?
Not bad. I just want to say to you, I listened to the entire Tracy Jacobs first episode, and you were born to play Tracy Jacobs, much in the way Natalie Portman was born to play Kennedy, Ms. Onassis.
I don't think that's a compliment.
I thought she did. Didn't she get wide praise for that?
I don't know. I avoided it.
Okay, how about Charlize Theron was born to play Megyn Kelly?
Oh, I thought you were going with Monster. Okay. Okay, so we have a few things to discuss first, and then we are going to dive right back into Tracy Jacobs' deposition, and this is part 2. We're going to do some Depp news. Let me mention real quick here. This is episode 9, but episode 8 is not viewable currently to those in the US of A due to a copyright issue, even though fair use and all that, But you can...
very lame copyright issue. Basically, we went over the 21 Jump Street Christmas episode, and you had that atrophied like George Costanza in a Hampton swimming pool shrinkage. Who in the hell would watch? This is just the copyright Nazis and where's this? Who would watch that and as their prime viewing of this episode? It was shrunk down to 2 centimeters. Yeah, we stopped it every 3 seconds. Like, you couldn't do more to disrupt the flow of watching that episode in its. But somehow, whatever that weird, what was the company name that copyrighted? It wasn't even
Filmrise.
No, it wasn't Filmrise. It was some other name.
Filmrise, but it was like Advent. But it's like a third party.
Yes.
They represent, 100 different other companies and alleged owners of material.
Let me see Stephen J. Cannell Productions, and I'll buy it, and I'll give you that. Not that shit. You don't get to own that show.
I would be honored if
I would too. I'd screenshot it, and hang it up in a frame.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask when we get Patrick Hasberg on. I'm gonna ask him about this. It's gonna be like the second thing after we.
I learned though, 66% of our audience is in the United States. That's still a lot of international folks listening to this. And I did. Okay. I am reconstructing the episode currently so we can get this put back on YouTube.
Oh, they have better rules in outside of here for like
Yeah.
YouTube stuff, and it is the Wild West. They don't give a shit about anything. There's no copyrights. We could have had a like a South American VPN and it would have worked, or
Mm-hmm.
France in homage to Vanessa. We could have had and it would have worked. What my 21 Jump Street fully restored episodes are from Germany and not from here.
Mm-hmm.
They have. I mean, it's like what? There's no rules. I love it.
I know. Anyway, I'm reconstructing the episode. It should have it back up within the next few weeks, probably sooner. I did what I had promised myself I would never do, though. If you want to see the entire episode as it originally streamed,
Yeah.
I need to start a Patreon. If we,
Well, you sounded like the NT. You with the low register NT.
it's what I told. When we talked about it, we didn't want to do that.
Marilyn Manson's gonna have to start a Patreon soon.
He probably has one. And a GoFundMe.
For my fans, I had to start a Patreon.
Oh my god. It is there. It's patreon.com, WINO forever. But it's at the lowest tier. I'm not gonna go any higher. I'm not $5. That's ridiculous. I think it's at $2 right now. But I guess in the future, if we can't think of anything better to do, we can actually watch movies and episodes, and comment. Because if you haven't watched an episode or a Johnny Depp movie without Mr. Arm involved, you've missed out. But
are you talking about a watch along on Patreon or
maybe
Twitch or something?
I don't know about Twitch. I don't know. I don't game, so I'm not into Twitch.
You don't game?
I don't game. I play Leisure Suit Larry, and that's as far as I go. And the original, and that's it.
Artie Lang did a voice on that, apparently. That's what he claims. I've never heard it.
Yeah, probably like part 7, the garbage era of Leisure Suit Larry. I hope nobody knows what I'm talking about, because that means they're just as old as I am. Okay, so you have some Depp news.
Yeah, there's 3 things. The subjects being Paul Bettany, the Scamber succubus, and James Franco, which is really one and the same, right?
Yeah. They were joined at
so
one
let's
point.
start with Paul. What's that?
Franco and succubus were joined at a few points.
Yes.
So
in an elevator.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Take the floor.
How much you think Depp hates that? He's such an Aerosmith groupie now that he's loving an elevator song is probably like his biggest nightmare to listen to. Imagine they try to cover that. Hollywood Vampires covering that.
Oh god, yeah.
Okay, so this is Paul Bettany evidently got interviewed somewhere, weird publication. So a lot of the different huge media sources picked up on Paul Bettany, the actor who plays Vision. He is a Depp crony. He's in his immediate circle. They have been friends since, I want to say, the early 2010-ish area. I don't know where he would know him before that. They've done 3 or 4 movies together.
He was in Mordecai. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, he was in Mordecai. He was in Transcendence. He was in something else I'm forgetting. He crowbarred him into. But anyway, they have this. He's one of the Depp stable. I believe he was in Dark Shadows in some capacity.
Over 3.
So it's all those crap, the real turds, the turd portion of Depp's career, that last decade of movies you just wish he never did. He's in a lot of those. Mm-hmm. So they're good friends, and Bettany's probably a good guy, and he got attached to the UK trial for the texts that were leaked, and he gets interviewed recently by something called The Independent. I assume it's a Brit magazine. So I'll just read what I have here. Paul Bettany says that having his text messages become part of a court record during the Johnny Depp libel suit against the UK tabloid The Sun was a strange and unpleasant feeling. In an interview with The Independent published Saturday, the WandaVision and Uncle Frank actor speaks about it. See, why didn't they say the WandaVision and Transcendence actor speaks about his long career in Hollywood, including having a producer tell him he'd never work again and explaining his process for how he becomes emotional enough to cry during scenes. But at one point during the interview, Bettany is asked about his 2013 text exchange with fellow actor Johnny Depp regarding the Fantastic Beasts actor's ex-wife, Amber Heard. I love when they describe like the person and they either say, they have to say, they just pick a movie and to attach him to, like, you know him for this, the Fantastic Beasts actor. That's the movie you're going with in his career?
Yeah,
Fantastic Beasts? Shut up. Messages that became public during Depp's defamation suit against his son's publisher over the tabloid's use of wife beater to describe him. When answering, Bettany says that it's, quote, a really difficult subject to talk about, and notes that the answer would just pour fuel on the fire, and before chalking the entire situation up to being just very, very, very strange. It was a very strange moment. Bettany says, what was strange about it was suddenly you have one of the most scabrous newspapers in London and their lawyers pouring through your text for 10 years. Can you imagine what it would be like? And honestly, have a bunch of lawyers to go through every one of your emails and texts for 10 years? I have to agree with him on that. That would be scabrous. Is that a I honestly say that I have not seen scabrous used. It's like saying the Brits say buttocks instead of ass.
I would be arrested had anybody looked at any one of my texts from the year 2018 through 20. I'd probably be in jail. I didn't do anything illegal, but they would just take me in for observation.
All I can tell you is that it was an unpleasant feeling. Now, anybody would have just moments of rage and sadness and stuff you'd be so embarrassed about getting out there. You're trashing a mutual friend of yours to another friend, or you're trashing your family to somebody. I think we all have these texts in our thing where we just go off on people, and if they got out there, we would just be mortified. So I'm totally with him there. It would feel completely violating to have anybody looking through your text. It really doesn't matter who it is.
So he in context, and also it came out in the UK trial that Bettany and Johnny Depp, not only friends, but I guess maybe this goes together, but they were doing obscene amounts of cocaine together, right?
Yes.
Okay. So he is a cokehead.
That was part of. It's almost like another show, but yeah, it was part of when the UK trial would fixate on drugs, as one would in this. I mean, when you have nothing else, you're going to go with what works. That's going to be, and it's called hallucinogen. So you don't know what you're saying, and you could use that to throw that in someone's face like fucking crazy, and a jury that or any judge that is repulsed by the drug culture would definitely hold that against you. And you keep throwing that in his face, and he kind of humble brags about his drug use through Thompson and whomever, and his idols are all in that culture. It's undoubtedly, and I think the succubus's people, I think that's probably 80% of their defense in the Virginia trial is going to be drug-related blackouts and leading to violence and drug and alcohol.
Yeah, it worked last time. The only thing I am thankful for in that regard is the judge handling this has apparently has a history in working with addicts, getting them back on their feet, and has some sympathy. I would assume an American jury would be a little bit more sympathetic to
also
drug
too
use.
Depp's team is going to learn how to make up qualifications and alibis and defenses for the drug. It was almost like a dry run. How can we rationalize this drug use or minimize it? However, they have a blueprint of how to stave off the constant drug, not just allegations. There are a lot of them are true. So let me continue with this. I want to read. Okay, Bettany's communications with Depp were included in the 132-page ruling on the case. Wow, I don't know if I've read the whole thing. 132 pages this guy wrote.
There
The judge in UK.
There are a dozen incidences that he had to write an opinion on. There's not a lot of exploration of both sides in making his determination. She was very successful with that judge in getting him, like what we talked about, getting that drug use mentioned immediately.
Yes.
Therefore, planting the seed in the old codger's mind that, he doesn't know what he's saying. So he mentions all of this. I know. I'm a woman of words, as obviously.
You're a woman of the 50s with that word.
I know. I'm borderline codger at this point in life. So
yeah, right.
You threw me off. Okay, so he mentions drug use in almost all of the his judgments on each separate incident. So she did one thing right, and that's all you have as your defense. You're gonna throw everything under the kitchen sink, including the kitchen sink, to try to get out of this, and she did.
And they even used text in bold printer, not helping any. With ruling in the case, 130-page ruling in the case, 2020, Depp and Bettany texted about Heard, with Depp suggesting they burn her, among other graphic things. I should read that whole thing. While Bettany, apparently taking it as a joke, wrote back and suggested, how about a drowning test to determine if she's a witch? Judge Andrew Nichols dismissed the libel case in November of 2020, finding the allegations that Depp had assaulted her on multiple occasions that she feared for her life were substantially true, and opening the door for other publications referring to Depp as a wife beater to have less fear of legal retaliation.
Mm-hmm.
The judge also refused to, let me see, it's a better version of this. The Hollywood Reporter is what I'm reading that from, and it's too truncated, because I hate when they edit little things out. I just hate it. I'm just anal when it comes to this topic. One message sent in 2013 is from The Guardian. Hollywood Reporter was half-baked. One message sent in 2013 made a lewd reference to Heard's beaver and discussed her. Remember there was a song called Winona Has a Big Brown Beaver?
Yes, I almost played it in the beginning of the Winona Forever.
You don't want to copyright?
I get them anyway. Who cares? But
would you get
it?
Would you get one for that dumb song?
I probably would. Yeah, I've gotten one for less.
And discussed her murder by burning or drowning. Bettany writes to Depp, I'm not sure what we should burn, Amber. She's delightful company and pleasing on the eye. We could, of course, do the English course of action and perform a drowning test. Thoughts? You have a swimming pool? Which Depp replies, no, let's drown her before we burn her. I will fuck her burnt corpse afterwards and make sure she's dead. To which Bettany apparently wrote back, oh my God, my thoughts entirely. Let's be certain before we pronounce her a witch. He's just, could you imagine being the recipient of that? And Bettany doesn't really know quite what's going on. He knows they're having problems, but now...
Yeah, he doesn't know that she's cheating and hitting and all of that, and constantly hysterical, and she's fighting like she's at a bar every night. She's slapping the crap out of you.
So this is better. This is the Guardian's a much better version of this. Then Depp was asked in court whether Bettany was one of his, quote, drug buddies. And he said that the pair had taken drugs together and drunk alcohol on several occasions. He could lie about that. Give Depp credit. I think he just thought this is such a slam dunk case. I'm just going to be as transparently truthful as possible. I have nothing to hide. And they just kept throwing that drug stuff in his face over and over again, and they will again.
Do you think from this point on he's ever going to brag again about his drug use?
I don't know if he can help it. I think it's part of his persona.
The cool factor. Yeah.
The counterculture cool factor, and all his idols engaged, and it's what Thompson. I think a lot of times he says, "What would Hunter S. Thompson do here? What would Marlon Brando do? What would Keith Richards do?" I think that's how his mind works. All right. How would Hunter S. Thompson handle us? Depp lost the libel case and was replaced by Mads Mikkelsen in the forthcoming third installment of J.K. Rowling's Fantastic Beast movie franchise. Bettany has won plaudits for his performance as a Duke of Agril in the very British Scandal, as well as the Marvel spinoff WandaVision. Nothing like having his back. You talk about the Marvel two-step backpedal, the Vision back. Like you got to understand what the big. Well, I was going to say Captain Jack almost became like the symbol of Disney over Mickey Mouse, but he now has to do the Marvel two-step back because he is the Vision in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is owned by Disney, and he cannot. I mean, he really should. This is an opportunity to have his friends back and go further with it, and express how I used hyperbole in that, but Johnny is, and he's had his back before, but now he is ensconced in the Marvel machine, and he can't, he's like a lot of just the dancing, and he's not backpedaling, but he kind of won't own it. This guy who gave you these roles when nobody else would a decade ago.
No, you're right. If they will pause not a second before they dump him from that franchise. He's not. I mean, he's a main character in the series in Marvel, but he's not a huge name.
Is he replaceable? Yeah, he is.
Of course,
he is. They're all replaceable except Chris
They'll
Evans.
find another guy to put pink makeup on and shove a stone in their forehead. That's not a problem.
And be an automaton.
Yeah.
He writes, it's a very, very difficult subject to talk about. It's not difficult. It's difficult for you to talk to the media about because you don't want to get fired from Marvel where you're mixed up in this trial. I don't blame you in a sense of not want to be mixed up in this, but you are. I mean, if there's one guy to go to the wall for, it's Depp, who would go to the wall for you and would at any time. I think, and you're not getting this Marvel role. I'm assuming, I'm going to go as far to say this. Depp's Disney connections, and I don't know this for a fact, Depp's friendship with Robert Downey Jr., long time, decades friendship with Robert Downey Jr., and his former affiliation with Disney got Bettany the Vision role. I don't know it for a fact, but I know how this works. I know how the chain of cronyism works in Hollywood. And you can't tell me that's not how that went down.
It's very possible and highly likely. I think you're right.
He knows very well how to talk about it. And I'm sure he and Depp have had he and Jennifer Connelly have lengthy conversations all the time about just eviscerating the succubus left and right. But he can't talk about it here because he doesn't want Disney to pick up on it. And you know how, like, I'm tired of saying woke, but you've seen the stuff. ESPN is owned by Disney. They fire people every week for, quote, speaking their mind. And the hypocrites always like, we encourage our broadcasters to speak their minds and, open discourse. No, you don't. You can get fired at Disney, at ESPN for mispronouncing Antetokounmpo.
But it also depends on what race you're speaking out against. So, and that's as deep as I'm going. Go ahead.
Well, so if you don't think Disney is pulling the strings on his thoughts, you're crazy. Anthony Mackie is another. Anthony Mackie plays the Falcon in the Captain America and the Avengers films. He was he was casted in this movie, which I love. But Bettany directed a movie called Shelter, which is about homeless. He was homeless for a little while, so he wrote a movie about a homeless couple in New York in the dead of winter. With, like, you've ever seen a homeless person that looks like Jennifer Connelly in New York. She stars in it with Anthony Mackie.
Does she have a smudge of car oil on her face from sleeping in the alley, and the hair's a little tousled?
That's all they did. Yeah, she must have been
Bridget
85
Fonda.
pounds.
Yeah.
In the Jump Street episode. 1,000 Points of Light, which Depp got to use the soundtrack. X, the LA punk band. I'm sure that it was his idea to use them in the soundtrack, but I digress. Yeah, she's like 85 pounds, and she does it great. She's a great actress, but sometimes that was such a forced nepotism cast. It's ridiculous. I lived in New York. I lived in that area where not far away from where the Bettanys, Connollys are. And I've never seen a homeless woman that looked like that, ever. Whatever country you're in, whatever city you're in.
Mm-hmm. But you have some. Do you have more texts or James Franco stuff?
No, let's stop it there. So he's promoting something. He's promoting that film we just read it, and so he's got to try to clean it up. But I don't know. Will he be deposed for the trial in Virginia?
Yes, he will be. They've already subpoenaed him.
Yeah, I think he's probably getting ready for that. Hopefully he.
Guess which side
brings
subpoenaed him?
I think his British charm will do a really good job.
Yeah. We're gonna find out what happened in that elevator. And what was in that backpack.
You're obsessed with it. We should do an episode of this just on elevator.
We're going to do an episode on
Elon and
yeah, of course. We're going to do it. That's going to be part of the Penthouse episode. Remember, we have all those.
Right.
That footage.
Right. The penthouse layout. Right.
Yep.
That's a great idea by you. You're obsessed with the schematics of the.
I love real estate layouts, all of it.
Yeah.
I love blueprints. Let's go. I can't wait. I love that.
You jerk off to real estate on YouTube videos on real estate agents show like that's on there, right? So that's what we're going to use.
Mm-hmm.
That isn't it like in 4K? It's like super clear.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's great stuff. Anyway, and
his shit's still in the penthouse too.
Yeah,
right?
I was just going to say you're going to see the quirkiness of Johnny Depp in the not only the paint color on the wall, but the insane amount of artwork, the type of artwork, the tackiness, all of it. I can't wait.
So this is from Page 6, which is like a subsidiary New York Post. Is it the Post or Daily News? Why do I not?
I think the Post.
I'm the New Yorker, and I don't know the.
I know the Statesman Journal and the Oregonian, but yeah, I don't know. Go ahead.
The Post and the Daily News in New York would sometimes you would conflate them. You would think it was the other one, and they're very similar people that work for them. The Post is known as being little more salacious and schlockier. They're mild, and they write really like wicked headlines. They write very funny, punny headlines.
Mm-hmm.
Because James Franco's woes just keep mounting up after causing a backlash by admitting he slept with his students. Have you seen this interview with him? Apparently, did he do a video interview about trying to own everything? And
is this the one that was in the Sirius studio? Because he did an interview that's kind of making the rounds on other YouTube shows where they're discussing.
How long ago?
A day or two. But he's making the rounds promoting something. I didn't pay enough attention to it. But he's talking. The main focus that these people are talking about the interview is he is like kind of forgiving Seth Rogen for distancing himself. But other than I haven't checked in.
And that's the tone. I gotta watch this interview.
All right, I'll send it. I found a bunch of them. I'll send them to you.
The woman on the Seth Rogen film with him, you're saying Seth Rogen knew everything that was going on. He'd enabled it. Now he's trying to back away from it because he's got a lot more to lose, and he's trying to create this pristine image, and he's trying to not get caught in the Me Too stuff. And he's full of shit. He knew exactly what. I believe her. I believe that they've been friends a long time. I believe her.
It's the
I believe
same thing.
Seth Rogen's a weasel. Franco's a bigger weasel, but they're both.
It's Ben Affleck. He makes this grandiose statement about how he supports the victims of Harvey Weinstein, but he knew all along what Harvey Weinstein was doing to these women.
But Ben Affleck is a Me Too himself. Do you remember that MTV TRL thing where he groped?
Oh, yeah.
It was an actress from like One Tree Hill.
I think
some fucking WB, CW fourth lead on one of those cheesy, and it was way before the Me Too movement. I mean, literally 18, 17 years ago. And it was way before, and his brother is a way worse, and he has a gang rape thing that's going around with him and Joaquin Phoenix that got buried.
Well, I didn't know Joaquin Phoenix was a part of that.
Apparently, yeah. Apparently,
Okay.
that's the. And his brother won Academy Molester by the Sea.
You know, I get Casey Affleck mixed up with Danny Masterson, so I could probably
Yeah, they look alike.
I could
That's
start
right,
talking about Danny Masterson and Scientology, you know, hiding his alleged rapes.
Yeah.
'Cause
What's
he's not
up with
convicted
him?
yet. I
still
think it's going through the whole. It's still going through the process. You know, the never-ending justice process.
By the way, Danny Masterson, you can thank Johnny Depp for having a career, because there'd be no That 70s Show without 21 Jump Street paving the way on Fox.
Right.
Thank you very much.
All right.
And Kurtwood Smith,
Anybody
who was
on
the father
Fox,
on that show.
anybody with a show on Fox should thank Johnny Depp for turning the lights on.
Yes, ma'am. Well said. So where am I here with? After causing a backlash by admitting he slept with his students, Page 6 exclusively learned that Franco has been served up in the long-running legal battle between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Franco, 44, will be quizzed over whether he had an affair with Heard while she was still married with Depp. Lawyers for Depp also want to ask the actor if he saw the alleged bruises to Heard's face. Franco will sit early next year for the deposition in the $50 million defamation lawsuit Depp filed against Heard. I cannot wait for this trial. But I'm telling you, I'm going to kill someone. If it's not televised, I'm going to kill someone.
You're probably going to kill someone because it's not going to be
televised.
televised.
Explain to me why OJ is televised and this wouldn't be.
I agree with you 100%. I do not know why, but it's not going to be televised. I think
what
we
other
know by
big
now.
trial? What other the fucking the Minnesota cop? What the hell is his name again?
Chauvin.
Chauvin. That whole thing was televised. Why can't this be?
That's kind of different.
Why? Why is it? Why?
That's
why
viewed
can't
as more important to the nation.
this
than a
is
Johnny
so
Depp
important to the Me Too
defamation
movement
trial
and
would be.
lying, and there's so much going on here. This is better than any movie anybody will ever make or do. Are you kidding me? Get
I
the
agree.
cameras in there. I don't want to hear shit.
I'll
What
save
would
up
be
my
the
vacation
reasons
time
not
to watch it every day. But the world is not us. We are a very small.
I disagree. I think everybody wants to see this. I disagree. I think you're
the world should
pussyfooting
see
around
this.
this.
I think the world should see this because this is extremely important to the Me Too movement.
Yeah,
and
about
the fraud that certain women are partaking in to use that to their advantage. I think it's very important. Not everybody else is
ultimately
gonna agree.
the judge has to grant them permission. Is that all this is?
I don't know. I don't know if it's not federal. I don't think. Of course, I don't think.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. I know nothing about it, but I can almost guarantee it's not going to be shown. We would know by now.
No, we wouldn't.
Yes, we would. They're doing all their motions, all that stuff is going on right now. Nothing has been spoken about this being even a possibility of being aired on television.
Well, the Ghislaine Maxwell thing pissed me off too. I thought that should have been out there for the abuse victims to see how this
It's a major. It's like one of the most prolific child traffickers in history, and they don't air this.
They're worried about his privacy.
I have my theory on why they're not airing this. I mean, it's federal court, so technically they can say we don't air federal court cases. But
when does that become a thing? Federal court. What does that mean?
I don't know. But I would say, I'll get back on track in a second. The Ghislaine Maxwell, I don't even know if she's going to be convicted. They have left out so much evidence, the prosecution, and there's a prosecutor who has political ties. I don't know how she was ever, allowed to present this case. Anyway, okay.
Don't they vet this stuff? Go ahead.
Yeah, they say they do. Before I forget, I want to, in our next episode, in our Depp news, there was some new audio that was released. I want to go through that and play it.
Oh, okay. I know what you mean.
Well, I have
that was from the. We were going to watch that soon.
Yes, we are. We're going.
The Depp v. Heard. I think everyone knows. Well, no. Depp v. Heard from Discovery Plus. All sorts of conspiracies about that being owned by Warner Brothers, and Elon Musk has some benefactor weird underpinnings in this. That it's supposed to be like Depp side and Heard side, but it's
It's not.
supposedly when it's Depp's side, it's just this. I haven't watched yet, so I'm going by the fangirls and the Depp heads, and they're saying that that's skewed.
They leave out a lot. I don't even think they play audio. You know that audio that came out, that first 2-hour audio recording of her admitting to everything?
Yes, none of that's
They
played
don't
in the
even
whole.
they don't even play that. I
You
maybe
know this
we're
for a
wrong.
fact?
I don't, and I'm not 100%, but that's what I've read, that they don't even play that. Also,
If not, that's insane. If
I
not,
know.
that's insane, and that's
You know
all you
who's-
need for the biases. Yep.
You know who's behind it? Elon Musk is connected to this biography, the
I mean-
Discovery Plus, all of that.
I mean, let's assume he is. Like, how do you think they set this up? They get a bunch of people in a room and they go, okay, well, we're gonna make it like it's even-handed and unbiased. We'll say that the first one's Johnny's episode,
Mhm.
and then however it works.
Because
I think
we
Depp
have
is the
to.
first. Because we have to. We're gonna make it look like we're just showing you what happened. We're gonna go to both sides, and we're gonna go, okay, well, and then somebody has the audacity in the meeting to go, okay, well, you want to play clips from that 2-hour audio they have? Go, no, that leave that. We'll just no. No, that's not important. We'll cut that out. And you're like, that's all that matters. She's admitting to hit.
I got to say, we're on that topic of that audio. What did you think when you heard that the first time? I thought, oh, we're done. And now
That's all you should need.
We're 2 years later, and this is still going on.
Well, you know what they're going to do. The succubus's people are going to accuse them of doctoring the audio, or like you can't misinterpret that. But she's going to say, "Oh, I was kidding. Like, you're the big man. You walked away." She's like, "I was kidding."
Yeah, her.
You get it?
Yeah. Now with this is San Francisco audio. This is in quick context.
Yeah, this is when she tried during a restraining order.
Yeah, she had filed a restraining order. She summons him to San Francisco to meet her. He puts her up in a hotel. F that. But he goes to meet her, and she's sobbing. She's recording him. That's weird anyway. But she, get in bed with me. I just want to hold you. I just want to hold you. And
what was your theory about her recording? She wanted him to.
I didn't know if you wanted me to wait until we listen to it, but
oh no, but just say quickly, like what?
And I had this theory the second I heard, but wait, a year ago, I heard that she had summoned him and wanted him to crawl into bed with her. She wanted them to have sex so she could claim rape, and then
Bingo.
Suddenly she would have evidence, and then suddenly that audio would disappear. It never
Bingo.
happened.
I think you're spot on. I don't think there's any question. You got the mind of a sociopath, of a succubus, of a Gone Girl scamber, right? I mean, isn't that right in line with? I saw Gone Girl once. I don't remember remember every. It's been 2 years.
That movie is about. If I didn't know better, that's her. This long con that she started from the minute they met.
Yep.
Until today, she's sticking with her story. She is the white Jussie Smollett. She is sticking with that story. It doesn't matter what evidence comes out. It happened. End of story. Well, I gotta say, we're talking about theories. My last theory. There's also audio that we'll go through, maybe the next episode too, since I mentioned it, where and maybe it's San Francisco again, where he is in a haze and he's like, I'm paraphrasing. I'm going to cut myself. Oh, I know how much it hurts. Cut me too. Can you imagine if he had cut her? What the evidence that he tried to kill her, she would say. And again, the audio would disappear. Okay, let's move on.
No, I think you nailed it. Beyond, there's no other. I think it's a slam dunk theory by you. I don't think it's farcical. I don't think it's a stretch. I don't think it's any kind of a leap to say. I think anybody that knows how she operates would say that is 100% what she was trying to do. I never even thought of that. So let me just finish this up. So Franco will sit early next year for the deposition and $50 million defamation suit that Depp will file. So Heard refiled $100 million. If he loses, is this how this goes?
She doubled it. She's going to countersue him for $100 million.
Countersue, right? Depp is suing Heard in Virginia over a 2018 Washington Post op-ed piece she wrote when she described being a victim of domestic abuse. She didn't mention her ex by name, but everybody knows who it is. And she says it's clear she was referring to him as the abuser. Depp denies any abuse. Oh, man. I cannot wait. Again, the devastation if if she wins this, I can't imagine. Either way, it's going to be huge. The verdict is.
He's always going to have his following that, his soldier girls and some men out there that are fighting for him, primarily on Twitter. But he's got to be done. If she wins, he's going to be doing. He's going to be doing Still Waiting for the Barbarians Part 5.
Waiting for the still waiting for the Barbarians. Waiting for the barbiturates to fall asleep. One of the man. I dozed off. I know. About 25 minutes in, I remember going.
I know. I hit about the same spot as you. I said, I can't do this. I cannot muster up enough. I don't care what happens to the Barbarians. I don't care Robert Pattinson. I don't care. I turned it off.
There's almost virtually no dialogue he doesn't deliver a line until I think it's like a half hour, maybe more into the movie. And I got to get back to it. Maybe it's the mood I was in. I couldn't engage. And it just has a lot of that Euro kind of, he likes that artsy style. Yeah, it's artsy enough. He gets to wear crazy sunglasses, and I almost thought the motivation for taking that role was the sunglasses.
I'm a cheap Depp head. I just need him to be a mobster, a detective.
No, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with having a preference for a genre, because I've said it a million times. The biopic, true crime, and biopic genre are easily his best movie. It's not even close. It's not even close. Biopics, you talk about Ed Wood and John Dillinger and George Young and on Public. City of Lies.
I would like him to play like a serial killer.
Donnie Brasco.
You could say Whitey Bulger was a serial killer.
Well, he did. He did.
Yeah, I know. But I would like.
No, well, I'm talking about Sweeney Todd.
Oh, yeah, okay. Moving along.
Well, no, I mean, it's noble. He sings well, he does.
Singing. I don't care about a Broadway serial killer.
When you watch Sweeney Todd, I want you to think Batman villain when you watch it, and tell me that he just would be the greatest. And I don't say comic book villain, but specifically a Batman villain, because it's Burton doing it, and it's just like the more heinous, less jokey Joker is what he comes across when you watch it.
I don't want him to sing. I don't want him to sing as a serial killer. I want him to play like the Long Island serial killer, like a true killer in history.
It's not. I hate musicals. I despise them. But he does it where it's not corny. It's not. He actually got nominated for Academy Award for it, and he's channeling David Bowie. It's clear. I picked it up in 2 notes. I knew that he's like, okay, well, what can I do?
Heroes.
And then while he's doing on the Hollywood Vampires, when he sings, what is he singing? Heroes,
which
is a David. That's his range. He stays in his lane. He knows that he can do a David Bowie impression, so that's what he did, essentially for. And I'm sure I haven't seen him readily admitted. I think somewhere I got to read more Sweeney Todd interviews, and I did read a ton. I don't remember him admitting to it, but I could see him go, yeah, I just sponged off David Bowie singing style, because David Bowie did a bunch of those weird, what was it, the musical, the big
Labyrinth
bathhouse musical he did. No, it's like, God, I can't remember the name of it.
I know what you're talking about.
It's kind of like a play. I think that's what he channeled for that. I can't remember the name of the Bowie thing.
I avoid any David Bowie movies.
He's overrated.
And most of the music. Trent Reznor helped him out a lot. Anyway.
Turn on your red shoes and dance.
He's dancing in the streets with Mick Jagger. No.
Yeah, that's when you throw that in his face, like, oh wow, you're really proud of this.
I want
dancing
him
in
to
the
sing.
streets.
He can't now because he's dead. But I want him to sing about how Johnny's an American and walk around the city as Trent Reznor follows him. That's all I care about with
These
David
are
Bowie.
my friends. See how they glisten. Oh no, you've been lost out of sight all these years, my lucky friend, and I come home to find you waiting.
Even your crooning doesn't help.
That's sweet. I know you didn't see it.
See,
That's
I don't know. I don't care.
And
Anyway.
we'll have wonders.
Can you
So
tell I
you want to
haven't
move on?
watched it?
What? You should watch it though. You should watch it though.
All right.
You. How about a shave? You, sir. Too, sir.
Ugh.
That's part of the
When does
Steven
the chorus
sound.
line come out?
How about a shave?
Ugh.
And you'll think Joker when you watch it. You think he would make.
Okay.
Aren't you tired of recasting the Joker? But his name had come up for the Joker for years. It never came to fruition. Whichever from Nolan to Burton to
I found this fan art that somebody did. I'm sure you've seen it. I
Zack
probably sent it to you
Snyder,
or vice versa.
unbelievable. No,
They put him in
saw
Joker
it too.
makeup.
It was perfect.
Fabulous. Okay. So we're moving on.
And you know he'd bring a better twist to it. But if you watch Sweeney Todd, just think a less jokey Joker, like a Joker that's completely gone off the rails, psychotically.
Okay.
You know,
I
just
see it. I see it just from like the trailer. When what I know of the movie,
Yep.
I do see it. All right.
What was the third one I mentioned to you?
The succubus
Story.
and the newest member
Oh,
of her family.
okay.
I have.
So Amber,
Did you, by the way, do you have the response she got back? Because I have it in front of me.
no, I don't have it.
Oh, okay. I'll read that.
Remember
when you're
I
done.
tried to pull it. It was an Australian thing, and
Yep. I have it, and I'll read it when you're done. Go ahead.
unless you have a better article than I have.
No, this is so pro succubus. This article is It's vomitous, but I have a quote in it that I would read. So you read what you have.
So let's stick with the Guardian. It seems like they're shit together. So meet. This is the title of the article or the caption.
And I'll put the Instagram photo up here.
Meet Barnaby Joyce. Amber Heard names dog after Australia's deputy prime minister following a clash over pistol and boo. Actor welcomes scruffy white pet with tribute to politician Johnny Depp described as an inbred with a tomato. Depp actually went on Kimmel during this kerfuffle and threatened the guy on Kimmel. This is when they were still a couple and happily. I'm not sure they were married yet.
He had to hold her hand and get her through her big international scandal.
Yep. Which she caused, and she forced those.
What you're about to read, does it talk about her emails to the employees?
Well, we got to do the whole dog smuggling thing in a separate episode.
Yeah,
it's just too much to tackle right now.
Yep.
We should have Bon Jovial on for that to get an Australian point of view about how serious they take this. Because I thought it was weird. I thought it was innocuous when I heard it. I'm like, what? Who cares? He brought dogs in. I had no idea there were laws for that.
There's a lot of layers to this. Anyway, okay.
6 years after Barnaby Joyce threatened to euthanize dogs belonging to Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, Heard appears to have had the last laugh, naming her four-legged friend after Australia's deputy prime minister. On Monday, the actor posted a photograph on Twitter showing herself holding up a large, scruffy white dog with the caption, "Meet the newest member of the Heard family, Barnaby Joyce." In May of 2015, Joyce, who was also the agricultural minister at the time, gave Heard and her then partner, Johnny Depp, an ultimatum after they brought their two Yorkshire Terriers, Pistol and Boo, to Australia without permission, send them back to the United States to have them put down. Joyce was firm on the application of the law, saying at the time that the rules could not be relaxed because you're a celebrity, even for someone who had twice been voted the sexiest man alive. He did say that. I remember that. Well, he's a gossip con, huh? That Barnaby Joyce loves Us magazine. Or People magazine, sorry. The two dogs were flown back to the U.S., and Heard was subsequently charged with 2 counts of illegally importing dogs to Australia and 1 count of producing a false document. Wow.
Which is still pending. She's not off the hook.
I'm trying to remember what goes over that the most deep. I think in the UK trial, Depp's lawyers drill her on that,
Mm-hmm.
and you get deeper into it.
Mm-hmm.
She is 100%. I think she just was going to get her way.
She had an assistant that said, "This is all via email,
right.
so it's documented."
That's right.
But
Yep.
the assistant, I'm paraphrasing, said, "You can't do this. These animals have to be quarantined.
That's right.
To make sure that they don't have diseases they're taking to this island of Australia." She said, paraphrasing, "If you want to keep your job, you'll do this."
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
I can't. Hopefully that all comes up in the Virginia trial, and
It should.
exactly like that. With these, the saga seemingly concluded in April of 2016 when Heard and Depp pleaded guilty to the dog smuggling charges, and we all saw that embarrassing video, which was parodied up the wazoo. And
yeah, where he has to sit there and make an apology video with her,
and it looks like a hostage video.
Yeah, there's a gun to his head,
stiff,
basically.
and there's no passion behind it, and they're
to get her
staring
off
down.
the hook. Yeah.
Yep. Heard was then placed on a $1,000 good behavior bond, and the couple recorded a strange video apology in which they laud Australia's treasure trove of unique plants and animals. At the time, the footage was compared to a hostage video. Yep. The animosity between the actors and the politician endured, and Depp took the chance to describe Joyce as appearing as a inbred with a tomato during a talk show appearance later in that year. Heard is now the owner of Pistol and Boo. I think wasn't Pistol was for
Boo was
Betty Sue.
Betty Sue, his mother's dog, and when she passed away, he took the dog. For some reason, she got both dogs in the divorce. She then took Betty Sue's dog and gave it to her father, who has a history of animal fighting and animal abuse. Not only beating his wife up until the day she passed away.
Yeah, the second owner was going to be Michael Vick.
Yeah, well, same thing.
That's what
Sorry.
I heard.
Mm-hmm. And he got. We've talked about this, I think, in like part 1 or part 2.
Yeah, you love this story. It actually does not get enough play.
15 days back in the day for dog fighting.
He didn't get a broadcasting job at Fox Sports?
No.
On Skip and Shannon?
But obviously, if these dogs don't fight as they should and win enough money in these pools, the animals are killed. It's horrifying. Same thing with chickens. They outfit these chickens with like these metal talons on their feet. Just, oh my God. It's
you have this crazy cartoon cat named Camilla. Could you imagine?
From a young age, I have taught her self-defense. She is well-versed.
No,
like
Panthro.
Oh, sorry.
Panthro taught her self-defense and then gave her to you.
She has the abilities of Elvis in karate. And El Karate. Okay. Anyway. All right. Let's move on.
Elvis is black belt.
Yeah.
It's that old Dennis Miller joke.
Amber
Heard. If he did it with Amber Heard. Amber Heard deserved to play Mirror in Aquaman like Elvis deserved his black belt.
He uses that for everything, I'm sure. Okay.
I didn't even realize Elvis had a black belt until he said that joke, and then you're confirming that is true.
Elvis had a federal narcotics badge. Elvis had, he was awarded that badge by Nixon as he's standing there high off his ass, accepting it. So Elvis also had police badges from every precinct within a 500-mile radius of Memphis.
He was the Officer Shack before Officer Shack.
Well, in his later brain fry days, he would pull people over and chastise them for speeding because he had a badge. He didn't know, completely out of his mind. I'm so fascinated. Jim Morrison, Elvis, their few remaining years fascinate me. Okay.
Who Depp is often compared to, both of us.
I hope it doesn't go there.
How old was Elvis when he died?
42.
Oh my God. So Depp's outlived him by 16 years. already.
Oh my God, I haven't thought about Elvis' age when he died in so long.
That's
keep
very
going.
young. I thought
I'm Googling.
Okay. An erosion. Come on. An erosion of democratic norms, an escalating climate emergency, corrosive racial inequality, crackdown of the right to vote. What am I reading here? The hell am I reading? Oh, I'm on some other article. Oh, yeah. I don't understand. What am I doing here? The stupid Guardian just segues to some weird political rant without any heads up.
Okay.
I'm reading some like environmental erosion.
Yeah, I'm keeping
There's
it in.
no,
so.
I'm telling you, there's no title. There's no segue. They just go into it like it's the same piece. What a piece of shit. Oh, man. Oh, you got him, Amber. You got him. You punked him. You win. You named him Barnaby. What a. I bet she didn't even think of that herself. That was probably I.O. Tillett's idea or something. Yeah. I don't even see her thinking of something like that.
Well, he responded to that.
Okay, what does Barnaby Joyce say back? Because I didn't see this.
Okay. Joyce hit back in comments to the Australians, saying he feels, quote, a real sense of accomplishment, unquote, to be the inspiration for the name, not resisting a dig at the star. He told the publication he was, quote, fine, unquote, with the name choice, adding that he had no problems with animals. Quote, I get a real sense of accomplishment that I'm still in her head long after I've forgotten about them, he said. Obviously,
True.
I now rate above Johnny Depp. No, he is a spitfire.
What, honestly, though, when we have to go into this at a certain point, not today, what is that dog smuggling? Where is that at? Why can't we get any information or closure?
Apparently, the FBI is assisting Australia with the investigation. I think for some reason they could be waiting until early summer when all of this is done.
Unless you falsified documents, man, that could be. You're right. Right.
Yep. She says in the email, whose palm can we grease to get this done?
It's literally verbatim, right? That's the quote.
She's screwed. Especially nowadays, they're going to look back at this with today's mindset of COVID. They are going to, I think she's going to be nailed to the wall. Okay.
A lot of good points. A lot of good points by you. So now, I was going to go into, but I think we could save that. Depp's, the other news was that an ex-bandmate from the kids commented on, he's in the documentary, but we should wait maybe to comment on that.
Okay. So
one of his bandmates from the kids is, I think that's one of the highlights of the Johnny v. Amber versus Amber Discovery Plus documentaries. They got a hold of this guy. They seem to be on the outs. I remember Depp left the band and it wasn't good. He just left him high and dry and said, look, I got, I'm doing Platoon and Nightmare on Elm Street, and of course, Private Resort, which you guys will love.
I saw that hairy butt.
So later, it's been great. I don't know when maybe we'll reunite someday, and they never did.
Yep.
Although Bruce Witkin is part of his music production company. He's the head of his Infinitum Nile music production, and that's one of the guys in the He Loaned Money to Rules of Money.
I think I'm going to have to pronounce that again.
Infinitum.
Screw it up.
Infinitum.
Okay.
Antetokounmpo. If you can pronounce Giannis Antetokounmpo,
that's easy. I can't say this. Fakakta.
Infinitum.
Production company name.
Infinitum. No. Sound it out. Infinitum. Stop. Infin. Infin.
That's great. It's not going to work.
You say infinitum.
Natum. Oh my God. Infinitum.
Yeah. Antenna.
And it's already
that's
gone.
how I learned how to pronounce Antetokounmpo. Infina. Tum.
Okay.
That's really how you say it. And again, I don't know why it's so difficult, but it is.
Because he had to make it difficult.
And I'm proud that we're spending time on pronouncing this, because I think a lot of people, most people cannot pronounce this. Everybody I see that goes up to this word is like, what? Monique pronounced it right, bitch.
She's like...
that phonetic bitch. She's got like a super IQ with a goldfish attention span when it comes to that stuff.
She is educated. I am not. So let's move on. All right.
FIT. FIT.
Yeah, Chemeketa Community College for less than a semester.
FIT versus, what is it, Chemeketa?
Chemeketa. You finally said it right.
When Monique pronounced it right, I don't know what we were doing. I was angry because I was still struggling with it. I was like, you fuck, she knew what so you have to like hyphenate it to get it right. Infinitum.
Great. Let's go. I'll try.
Infinitum.
I can't guarantee a thing. All right. You ready? We got a lot to do.
Okay.
Okay.
So let me go to the transcript.
Yep. Page 101, line 3.
Page 101.
Get your Feeny/Chew on.
Benjamin Chew. That's a good fake name. Benjamin Chew.
Very good lawyer. Has a lot of experience in defamation cases, apparently.
Well, you know, the original guy, Adam Waldman,
Mm-hmm.
the super lawyer who goes like goes nuts on
Twitter.
Twitter and stuff. He was banned from Twitter. He was forbidden from being his lawyer in the UK case because of I think his Twitter antics.
Yeah, she accused him of leaking information, which he was. That's okay.
How do you know it, right?
I know. She's desperate. Okay. We are going to go
All right,
back
so
now
we're
to
on
May 30th, 2018.
Okay, let me turn this sideways so I can with my fucking Matt Murdock vision. All you comic book nerds, Daredevil.
You're doing fine. I'm taking a drink.
Okay, so I'm gonna go to where. Okay, did Johnny know he was having financial problems? Objection to the form of a question. Let me put it this way to you. Based on what you said, did Johnny know he was having financial problems?
Yes.
And that started as early as 2005?
Yes.
And during that period of time, 05 to 2015 or 16, did he ever blame that on you?
No.
Did he ever blame it on Jake?
No.
Did he ever blame it on Joel or he said to you?
Not until the boat.
I want to see the boat movie. The boat. Okay. And again, was he upset that he had to sell the boat, correct?
Yes.
And other than that, the fact he was upset, did he tell you that he blamed Joel for the advice to sell the boat? But with respect to the financial problems he was having, did he blame Joel for that as well?
No.
It was the boat. He didn't want to sell the boat, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Did you have, around the time of the boat, when he told you selling the boat, did you have any understanding as to whether or not he was spending more than he was earning?
No.
Okay. Did you have any understanding about whether or not he was able to pay his taxes?
No.
Okay. Did you have any understanding about whether or not he was borrowing money to pay for his lifestyle?
No.
But it's fair to say that there was this pressure during this period of time on you had to go out and find him good paying jobs for him to do this.
Yes.
Okay, and that was pressure that came from both Johnny and Christy, correct?
Yes.
Did it become harder for you to find good paying jobs for him at that point in time while you were still his talent agent?
Yes.
And when did that start?
That started, I would say, approximately 2010, 11.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny. That year, you know, not only was it the fall of the Howard Stern show when Artie left, but it's when you feel the decline in his choices, the lazier choices, the stuff I dislike are all coming at you in full force, one after the next. This is after Public Enemies, which at that point was like the last film I really loved. And there's just a string of turds in a row after this time. It's so fun. I mean, that's a perfect year to put a year to when it started the downward spiral. Okay, and give me an example of how you experienced this.
When I'd called to talk to a studio head or a director or a producer, I was questioned about certain things.
And what were those things you were questioned about?
Lateness, complicated, unavailable, and it seemed that there was a reputation that he had.
Wow, that's so. By that point, like we're looking at 2010, 2011. This is all tacked on him. These are glitches in his Hollywood persona that we're not quite aware of, because I mean he would tell you he's a Nazi about being prompt and on sets. He doesn't want to leave the cast and crew waiting around. But this is contrary to what he supposedly prided himself on. The complicated stuff's always there. He's always been not prickly is not the right word, because he's a very sweet guy to be around to everybody, and that's the ultimate virtue. But he's very complicated. And I don't say that condescendingly. I don't use that word. I swear to you, I do not use that word unless they deserve it. And it's usually a backward compliment. But he is. And it can work. Being complicated can work against you in many ways. Unavailable? I don't know if I assume that. Yeah.
Do you think that's more when he was there, it was more unavailable mentally? Or just they couldn't reach him?
I think you can't reach him.
Yeah.
I think mentally he's always on. I think she can't. I think that aloofness serves him. I think he knows he can get away with being aloof. See, you can only be unavailable when you're desired like he is, when you're a huge, massive A-list commodity.
Yep.
You can be unavailable. You can be complicated. You can be late. You can't be that if you're Peter DeLuise. And in fact, it's funny. And I say Peter DeLuise because he's actually said he had a really difficult time getting work as an actor, and he had to turn to being a TV director. He just couldn't. He can't afford to be those things.
No, Slim Fast commercials only paid a couple of months worth of bills. And the Dom
you put that
DeLuise
in the last.
inheritance.
That was brilliant. We got. It's going to come back, I think today or tomorrow, right?
I could put the whole thing in.
You did though. Didn't you have the whole Slim Fast commercial?
No, just a little clip.
Okay.
We'll see.
Okay, but I'm on 19 now, right?
Yep.
I had to stop that. Those.
I know.
And you had to directly deal with that, correct?
Yes.
Did you talk to Johnny about that?
Many times.
And what did you, in substance, what did you say to him about this issue?
You're late. People have a hard time with that. Movies are very expensive. They'll move on to someone else unless you can be more responsible.
Fair enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
She should say that to him. I mean, he doesn't, in his mind, I think he's a bigger ego he's very self-deprecating and he's fragile and stuff, but I think he has an ego all to himself. I think there is something in the back recesses of his mind that says, I'm not replaceable.
And
in some ways he's not. There's a lot of roles you can't see anybody else doing it, but
it's like, and I talked to you about this earlier, it's like Mike Tomlin and Antonio Brown. You should have cut that attitude shit in the beginning. The first season, you should have made, he should have been reprimanded or disciplined anytime he pulled attitude in that locker room. And it didn't happen.
I see what you're saying, but he's a little more charming. He is not, he doesn't pull this, Depp doesn't pull the antics Brown does. And again, you have to remember Depp's quirky persona inhabits some of those things. He's been known as that. Like him being boring and professional is not what his brand is built on.
I had to get that shot in at the Steelers. Okay.
No, I understand what you're saying. But the only reason Antonio Brown can get away with that is because he's had seasons of 125 catches and 1,500 yards.
the Caribbean movies. Depp had all of that.
Right.
He had the Tommy Hansen effect in Tiger Beat magazine lasted him through at least 2010.
His charisma is a superpower. I'll say it again, and it creates an unaccountability and where you're rooting for this guy in every situation, even when he's at fault.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it staves off any accountability.
Yep.
And when you explained all these things to him, what was his response to you?
I don't recall.
I don't recall. Did you believe that there were opportunities and jobs that he didn't get because of these issues?
I don't recall a specific, but quite possibly.
Okay, and did you ever talk to Christy about this issue?
All the time.
Wow. I'd love to hear those conversations,
Yeah.
right? Tracy Jacobs talking to his sister about, man,
Mhm.
with what we don't, even, this is so inside here and it's so fourth wall, but man, what we don't know, I'd love to hear those conversations.
Yep.
Maybe they're saved in a text somewhere.
They'll come out.
Although were
Something's gotta
texts
come
around
out.
then? Yeah.
Yeah. Flip phone
Okay,
text, yeah.
and what was their concern?
Well, Christy always defended Johnny, so there was never an instance where she didn't defend him, no matter what the issue was.
So if, for example, he, say, didn't show up for filming on some day on a set and, 100 extras were sitting around, she would not necessarily blame her brother for that? Objection in the form of a question.
Can I answer that?
Yes.
Do you again?
Sure.
She would usually blame someone else, like the producer, the first AD. She would never hold her brother accountable, ever.
Again, I'd love to hear those conversations.
Mhm.
And I can see it when there's a million people working on these movies, that you could go, that the key grip is the problem.
Yeah.
Keith Askins, the key grip is the reason. How far down do you go to deflect blame? Was she concerned about the fact, though, it was potentially hurting his commercial abilities and his commercial opportunities? Objection to the form of a question. It calls for speculation as to what another person may have been feeling. Okay, Chew. Just so it's clear, I don't want you to speculate. I'm talking about what Christy said to you. So did Christy say to you that she was concerned that these issues, even though they weren't right, were interfering with Johnny's ability to get, high-paying jobs?
No.
Okay. Did the two of you talk about any steps that should be taken so that this wasn't an issue for Johnny going forward?
Yes, but it was a very difficult conversation to have because she was always defending him. So therefore, he didn't do anything wrong, so there was no discussion really to be had.
And the issue of his substance abuse ever become an issue with potential employers that you're talking to? Objection to the form of a question.
Can I answer that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and was that, again, around this period of time, 2010-ish, that concerns were?
2010, 2011, yes, it became more noticeable.
And there was a concern that it was both alcohol and drug abuse? Objection to the form of a question.
That was stated to me sometimes by potential buyers for him.
Wow. And that's crazy. All the way back then, that's running, those are the stuff running amok in the Hollywood studios we never are privy to.
Mm-hmm.
You go, oh, well, you always think of him, we know he drinks a lot and he's pretty open about it, and the drug stuff seemed to be behind. But I remember reading articles where he said he's kicked all that stuff for years. So there's a lot of interviews where he lies about, I could pull him up. I remember I was pouring through them like, what? He'd been sober. And
now keep in mind too, when you look her up, she's on every power list of agents in Hollywood that you can find. She's mentioned. So I'm sure.
And more powerful now, I think, because
Yeah.
she merged with the other agency.
Yeah. She, she drilled that into his head. This is the only way you answer that. If you want to work again, if they
Yep.
bring up drug and alcohol abuse, you don't do it anymore. Anyway.
And again, did you discuss that directly with Johnny?
Yes.
And what did you tell him?
I said there are questions about the drinking and whatever drugs you might be doing, and you're showing up late and the craziness with Amber.
Wow.
And so there are rumors, and it makes people worried, especially when your price is so high. It makes it that much more difficult.
And what was his response to that?
Nothing changed.
So I understand that Johnny and Amber met on the filming of that movie Rum Diary?
Yes.
And that their relationship started then or soon thereafter, and went on for some number of years after that?
That's my understanding.
Do you want to take a short break? Sure. At the time, the video monitor, it's 11:58 a.m. We're going off the record. This is disc number 1. And let me ask you here, we have a little pause in what they're doing. Now that you've listened to, what page are we on here?
107.
107. Yeah, 107. Did I exaggerate the salaciousness of this?
No,
How interesting.
this is a great deposition.
I kept hyping it and stuff. I'm like, you gotta listen to we gotta read the did I use one bit of hyperbole with how interesting this is? At least to you.
I love the opinion, no, not an opinion, but the facts coming from the third party, being Tracy Jacobs, as to what was happening behind the scenes and the relationship with the sister and everything. His difficulties with studios. I love all of it.
I do too. I can't get it. I mean, I was just agape when I originally read this. I'm like, I can't believe this is out there. Do you see? I mean, do you have any empathy for Tracy Jacobs, and you can see why she would have an axe to grind with him?
I do, because she can't move in with him and keep the powder out of his nose, or the $10,000 bottles of wine down his gullet, or the whiskey inhaled through a syringe into his veins. She can't move in,
right.
So she has to trust him to do this, and he's not doing it. So what are you
at what
do?
point? I mean, and she's got to be saying, when they broke up, he's 53 or so, and she had to be going maybe through his mid to late 40s and through his 40s. Am I still dealing with drugs and alcohol? I mean, is this going to stop at some point? Are you still? Yeah. You're 50, at whatever age, you're post 50, and we're dealing with ecstasy still. Could you imagine?
You're drinking this wine. You're taking these private plane trips constantly. You're paying for the rent on 5 penthouses, or the mortgage on 5 penthouses. How do you think you're going to pay for this if you're not working?
Yeah.
You got to put in a little bit of the effort here. I can't do everything.
But she knows, there's always going to be his ideal offers are one. His idyllic offers are one thing. Offers as a whole is another thing. So he's getting stuff. He can't afford to feel above anything at this point. Back then, he could say, oh, this is beneath me, and I'm not doing it. But he sells out over and over again during this time, because I myself said, with no knowledge of what was going on behind the scenes, trying to put it together, I'm saying, that choice is something 95 Depp would never do. That's so ridiculously the epitome of a sellout. And just and the redundancy and the lazy choices and like mindless, just sort of sloppily and recklessly picking the dumbest, lazy scripts that would come simply because, we didn't know it at the time. I could assume they paid the most, or his friends are allowed to work on the film, or his favorite director's doing it. So it's just an easy to just fly in and you want to work with what you're comfortable around, regardless of what the artistic side of it is.
Yep, absolutely.
As a lot of people would do, but he's supposed to be an artiste, right?
Agreed.
Isn't that why we all rallied around him in the 90s?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, let's go. So they come back, they take a break. By the way, it's going to be line 47, exhibit 47 marked, I guess, in parentheses.
Okay.
That's what Compa. The only thing, what do you think would rival this if his sister had the same deposition and she had an axe to grind with him, as far as dirt goes?
Yeah, she would be able to give a little more.
Yep.
But no, I'm happy with this. We're never going to get a deposition from her because she's still on the payroll.
She's got to be involved in Virginia, right?
Yeah, I would imagine. I think she's given something.
She knows too much.
It's very basic. I think it was about as long as the housekeeper deposition who found the turd in the bed.
Okay, so line 24 in the...
Yep.
I'm going to show you 47 Miss Jacobs. This, as you can see, is an email. This is crazy. From you to a number of people, May 20th, 2008. Do you see that?
Yes.
And was Sweeney Todd one of Mr. Depp's movies?
Yes.
Okay, and who is Danny? Was there a lawyer at Jake's firm called Danny?
That's Jake's assistant.
Ah, I see. All righty.
Because Jake doesn't have email or didn't email at the time.
Could you imagine working on it, not having, refusing to get email? Beep me. I'm old school.
Yeah.
All my deals are made on the telephone like a real man. I like to see.
I type on a Kerouac only typewriter.
Which I think Depp owns.
Probably.
I think that's one of the things he has to hawk.
I think he has an entire room of Kerouac and Thompson memorabilia.
Did you ever see The Source?
No.
I think we talked about this. Yeah, it's a movie. It's kind of a documentary style thing where he reads poetry of Kerouac.
Oh,
and John Turturro reads Allen Ginsberg.
There's a clip on YouTube. Sorry.
Oh, okay. And I think Dennis Hopper reads like William Burroughs.
Mm-hmm.
The Beat Poets. It's called The Source.
Okay.
I fucking saw that, and this is how big a fan I am of Depp's.
No.
I paid $15 to see that in West Village in some horrible movie theater with wooden seats. He's literally in the thing for what, 15 minutes maybe, if that. And I dragged a couple of friends of mine with it. And so the movie theater's got no acoustics. And my friend smuggled in a Bud Tallboy 24. So we're watching the previews, and there's this little silence before the movie's about to start. My friend decides to pop the beer in the middle of the silence. All you hear is, and I just cackled at the sound of the popped Bud Tallboy in this artsy theater. It's the white trashness of it all, and just the sound of the cracking can in this art house theater is the funniest sound I've ever heard to this day. I was cackling in the theater. I couldn't stop until I got it together. And he like shrunk in his seat because everyone turned around to look at him. You just knew he couldn't wait. He couldn't wait.
The Warriors have arrived to take over the theater.
At least he went to the thing. I'll give him that. I mean, that was nice of him to tag along.
I wouldn't have gone.
Okay, probably a good idea. And in this email you write, Joel has given me permission to ask for advancement per tax situation. We'll see that happens. Do you recall what that was about?
Well, it wasn't uncommon for me to ask for advances. I don't recall what the tax situation was, and I don't recall exactly what the advance was.
Just to be clear, so what is an advance?
An advance can be a couple of different things. It can be an advance against your front-end salary, whatever that has been negotiated out. It can also be an advance against your back end, your points. So I'm not sure what this was for or how much I was asking.
Wow, this is so inside. This is such a Hollywood Insider 101 thing. Like, you never see this stuff. I didn't know that existed
Mm-hmm.
in advance. So like a guy, you cast someone and he's dead broke. He's like, I need it now. I need it now. You got to give it to me now. So the studio graciously agrees to give him whatever. If he makes $4 million, they'll give him $1 million.
Yep.
And so he's doing that over a lot. And you'd think, like, why would a guy in his, A-list salary range need to do that in advance?
We would find out in a few years why.
Yeah. And an advance would be something that you would get from the studio?
Yes.
Okay. And is that something that would have to be negotiated?
Yes.
And were there times when the studio would decline to give you an advance?
Yes.
Oh, that's funny. And other times when they would give an advance?
Yes.
Why would you typically, or why did you even ask for an advance?
Because he needed the money.
Tracy Jacobs is so flat. She's so like blunt.
That's how you do these.
Because he needed the money.
Mm-hmm.
You want some like more glamorous answer, but she's like, nope.
I know.
She's had it. She's had an axe to grind now.
Where's your Dice impersonation? He needed the money. That's as deep as I'm going with
Okay,
Dice.
and did you ever? There's nothing better than an Oregonian broad doing a Dice clay impression.
That's as good as it gets. Unless you're talking about Sauce and the Mob and Sunday Gravy. I can't see. I'm
going to do a Dice impression, right. But I'm going to do a Dice impression, but after it's going to be from Private Resort.
Okay.
We're going to watch.
Put it in.
He was in Private Resort.
Yeah. So it was
okay,
Johnny Depp,
and did you ever get an advance against his back end?
Speaking of butts. Okay. Yes.
In connection with what films?
Pirates.
And so you went to Disney and asked them for a back end advance?
Yes.
That's brazen. And that's power.
Mm-hmm.
That's Bruckheimer power. And do you remember the amounts of any of the advances that you got?
No.
Okay. How about with respect to, do you remember the amounts of any of the advances that you got over time?
Yes.
What do you recall?
Well, the most recent one was for Fantastic Beasts.
Uh-huh.
And I went and asked Warner Brothers for a $5 million advance against his $13 million salary, and they granted it.
Wow. That's got to be so uncomfortable for her.
I know.
$5 million up front.
Yeah.
We're not going to do it. And Warner Brothers is like, why does the guy who just made $45 million on Pirates need this up front?
Need 5. Yeah.
Yeah, need 5. So that was a movie that you were representing Mr. Depp in connection with.
And still do, yes.
She means by that, any films she brokered after he fired her, she should be getting a percentage in their agency. So it doesn't matter, you know what I'm saying? If she's not on the picture anymore, it doesn't matter. She brokered the film, so she's still involved in whatever deal she made before they were. It wasn't like a summarily firing. It carries over.
Yeah, she still has the rights to the deals that she made with him. Yeah.
Right. Okay. By the way, do you know if there's any commissions or monies that Mr. Depp owes to UTA?
Yes.
This is where it gets good. And this is like years later. I wonder what's going on with that.
I don't know.
Do you know what the amount of that is?
Back ends on, do you want me to be specific?
Yes, please.
Could be any of the back ends over the years, plus the ones he's done since he's left Fantastic Beasts. Murder on the Orient Express, Labyrinth, the movie that comes out in September, and the remaining 3 Fantastic Beasts that he will start up again in 2019. Those are all deals I negotiated.
By the way, just for a note, Labyrinth is actually City of Lies. They renamed it. That was the original name of it, and then it
Okay,
got moved.
that threw me. That's
and
why I paused. I was like, oh, all right, more David
you
Bowie.
see the L.A. in the beginning of it. L.A. Get it? Labyrinth.
I thought for a second. I thought, is he really doing a David Bowie remake? Like Labyrinth? No. Okay.
The book. I think the book is called Labyrinth.
Okay.
That it's based on the Russell
Makes
Poole book.
Total sense.
And so he gets fired from when he gets removed from Fantastic Beasts. They had to pay out that whole thing to him. He did 1 day of work when they removed him from that.
And he even dyed his hair white. What a waste.
Okay, and so do you know what the amount of the commissions that are owed to you as of this date?
Does that include front ends as well?
Let's.
Millions of dollars.
Wow. This stuff never got out there, right? This is just crazy money battle and Hollywood insidery. Oh, this is shit that you never hear about. Okay, do you know if it's more or less than $10 million?
Somewhere in that area.
Wow. Okay, and the movies that you just mentioned are all movies that you negotiated on his behalf?
Yes.
Okay, and it is your understanding that under its custom and practice for the talent agent to get a commission on any deals that was substantially negotiated while the client was still with the agency?
Yes.
Okay, next exhibit. Exhibit 48 is a series of emails. And Ms. Jacobs, you probably know this, but the way you read emails is in reverse order. So in other words, the first one in time is at the bottom.
Yes.
Okay, and reading up, and this appears to be an email from February of 2010 that indicates that UTA had received a check in the amount of $194,000 and $194,763, and then it was being passed along to you, and you indicated that you were going to messenger this to Joel, and then pass the information on to Christy. Do you recall why people were saying yeah or yeah at the time?
I think, everyone was always happy when money came in. This comparatively is a small amount.
Right, but the receipt of money was a good thing.
Positive, yes.
Okay, it's not like that in a law firm, but I understand it may be at an agent. And again, this is the information. So if you receive a check, you would typically send it to Mr. Mandels' office.
Yes.
Okay, and you would let everybody know that you were sending money along?
Yes.
When the studio paid, for example, money to Depp on his front-end salary, is that money that would come to UTA first? Do you know that? Objection. Calls for speculation. If you know.
Most of the time, yes, and then I'd send it on to Joel. Okay,
alrighty. Next. And Ms. Jacobs, you can see at the top, this is an email that you sent. I gotta put this in the email. CD@infinitumnile.com. You understand that's Christy Dombrowski.
Yes.
Infinitum, Nile.
Yes.
Her address, okay, this is December 14th, 2012. Just read the email to yourself and let me know when you're done.
Okay.
Okay, do you recall what that was about?
No.
Okay, usually I have it in the subject line. Okay, you say, I told him not to blow up the movie. Do you think you're talking about Johnny?
Yes.
Okay, and you write on, you say, but still needs work. He seemed a bit too happy about P5. Doing it later than sooner. Oh my God. Pirates 5 is what P5 means.
Yes.
Do you remember any discussions with Johnny about the timing of that movie and when he wanted the filming of that to take place?
Yes.
And he wanted it later than you wanted it.
No, he just I don't recall what the other films were, but he wanted it to fit in so that he could do other things.
I think I know what's
I
going
don't know who EH is, unfortunately. We do.
Why? Okay, and when you say other things, you mean
Other movies.
EH is Ethan Hawke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Other movies, okay. And do you know, you said, oh my God, at the end of your email.
Oh my God?
Yes.
Yes, I don't know why I said it.
That doesn't ring, that doesn't refresh your recollection, okay? Okay, this is an email exchange between you and Christy of February of 2013. You could read it to yourself.
Uh-huh.
Do you recall this email exchange?
No.
You say it must be his happy day. And then the last Christy goes, ha, 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 ha. And you say, I mean it. Was that referring to some sort of, exchange you had previously with Joel Mandel? Do you recall that?
No, I think I know what this is about.
Okay.
I think.
Okay, what's that?
It's about this movie Mordecai, because it's right around the time that we were talking about it.
Okay, and what was the movie Mordecai?
Mordecai was a movie that Christy and Johnny were producing through Warner Brothers, but Warner Brothers put it in the turnaround. So I had to get it set up elsewhere.
Okay, and were you able to do that?
Yes.
And what was a movie that was being produced by Johnny's production company? This is the movie that's being produced by Johnny's production company.
Yes.
And did he star in this movie?
Yes.
Do you recall what his front end salary was?
Yes.
And what was that?
$15 million.
Oh God!
For that.
For that.
Eek.
Oh my God! Wow! I don't think you know how much that bombed. All the financials are in the charts, are just as fascinating, and that's another episode.
Mm-hmm.
Going through that. I can't believe you got $15 million for that.
I'm gonna be forced to watch that movie to review it. Oh.
The movie actually got made, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Did he get any back end on that? Do you know?
He had back end, but the movie was a bomb, so no, he didn't get any.
So the movie did not do well.
No, I have to turn off my phone. Excuse me.
Okay. Do you recall this email chain at all?
Vaguely.
This is from May of 2013.
Uh-huh.
At the bottom of the first page, there's an email from Christy where she says, they aren't good guys. Do you recall who she's referring to at the time?
I'm not sure.
Okay. And she said, if we didn't need to keep on going, I'd tell them to take a hike. I would much prefer another option as much as I wish it would work. To which you responded, don't have one now. Again, does this have to do with a movie that you're in the process of negotiating with?
It sounds like it's Mordecai again, although I'm not sure.
What a pain in the ass for such a
Crap.
colossal debacle to go through all that. So not worth it. Okay, and when Warner Brothers put that into turnaround, who ended up making the movie instead?
Lionsgate.
So you had to negotiate with Lionsgate now.
Yes.
And was that a difficult negotiation?
No.
Up at the second from the top is an email from you. It says it's not good, trying to get an offer from Sony, 10 to 15. Again, does that refresh your recollection at all if this was?
Well, I think she's talking about Houdini, which is a movie that's been in development.
Yes, that Houdini, again, that falls into the category of movies Depp never got made, or why didn't it get made, or almost made it. That's a whole show, at least a show. A billion of these. And I'd heard about the Houdini thing for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
The Invisible Man was also another one. Remember that? It was supposed to come out with a monster Marvel DC-esque cinematic universe for the public domain monster movies, you know.
So was he
The
going
Wolf.
to just do a remake of the Chevy Chase classic Man Without a Face? Or no, that's Mel Gibson.
Memoirs of an Invisible Man.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
Right? Memoirs of an Invisible Man.
Yes, you got it. Sorry.
How about Kevin Bacon's Hollow Man?
Mm-hmm.
Who needs another Invisible Man movie?
No, it's been done.
Right?
Move on.
Tired. Like a
How many
motherfucker.
times do we need to see the Invisible Man sneak into a woman's bedroom and watch her change? I know you guys like to see that.
More tired than Betty Sue Palmer after a double shift at a Miramar diner
Oh, your references
in
are
1980. Did Houdini ever get made?
No.
Okay, and was that a movie that you were in the process of trying to get made somewhere else?
No, it was set up and they were interested in offering it to Johnny.
They were not?
They were interested in offering it to him.
Oh, excuse me. Was that Warner Brothers?
No, I believe it was Lionsgate.
Okay, and was there a reason that movie Johnny didn't end up making the movie?
The movie has just been in development for years and years. They just haven't made the film.
It's still in development as far as you know?
As far as I know.
All righty. I'm just going to ask you about the emails at the very beginning, or excuse me, at the very top of the first page.
Uh-huh.
First of all, it appears that you're discussing with Christie's traveling to Anaheim for something. Was that an Angels game? Was that the premiere, the movie or something? Do you know?
It sounds that way.
Right. And you wrote and said he's testing unknowns other than Colin. Does that ring a bell?
I'm not sure what movie this is.
I'm not either. Colin who? Hanks? Farrell? Quinn? Who the fuck's Colin? I gotta
Probably
know.
Farrell. Wasn't around that time where he was like the it guy?
Well, are you talking about Parnassus?
I don't know.
I don't know if him ever even... Colin Farrell, here's the thing. Colin Farrell was in Fantastic Beasts before Depp.
Okay.
So I don't know. I can't assume it's Colin Farrell. I don't know what the hell we're doing here. Could be anybody.
Yep.
Oh, this is good. They take a shot at one of the directors. Depp did Finding Neverland with Mark Forster, who directed Monsters Ball.
Okay.
And they take a shot at him here in some way.
All right.
It's very quick, but it's so snarky, and I'm sure he got all. I don't know. Actually, I don't know if this got out because it's very. A lot of people don't acknowledge this transcript. They won't talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, at the very top is your email where you're writing back to Christy, and you said, "This is our last option, other than that shitty Mark Foster movie."
Forster.
They write it wrong. They mispronounces it. I'm saying it how it said. I know how it said.
Yeah.
But they wrote it wrong. They wrote it Foster, and it's Forster.
It'll be on the screen too.
This is our last option, other than that shitty Mark Foster movie.
Forster.
Forster. Excuse me. And what was the Mark Foster movie?
I can't remember which one.
Did it ever get made?
I don't know.
Is this a conversation or should I say an email exchange between you and Christy talking about the possible roles for Johnny?
Yes.
Okay, and this is typical of a kind of communications you might have with Christy where you would be going back and forth about various options that were on the table?
Sometimes, yes.
Okay. This is an October 2013 email exchange between you and Christy. You write to her and said, also, don't forget to call Jerry B. It's Jerry Bruckheimer, I assume?
Yes.
R-E... P5, Pirates 5,
Yes.
and Jason Burns, RE 22 Jump Street, and J.
Yes.
Did 22 Jump, was that going to be a movie?
It was a movie.
Why are they calling it 22 Jump Street?
No, they did a sequel. They had the first
I know
movie.
I know they did a sequel, but
Why that?
and I'm sorry to interrupt. No, but he's dead. The Hanson character was killed in the first 21 Jump Street movie.
There's a deleted scene. Have you ever seen it? Where he's not dead.
No, I haven't seen it. What?
I'll send
Where
it
did
to
you see this?
I'll put it at the end.
I have the Blu-ray too. I don't know why I don't.
It's
know
on
this.
YouTube. I saw it just maybe days ago. I know
So the
something you don't.
the deleted scene is for 22 Jump Street.
Well, it's a setup probably, and the reason why he can do a 22 Jump Street.
Holy shit!
Yeah, they're not dead. Okay.
Yes. Well, but then, so this is really insane because I didn't realize. So they had something set up, and it didn't happen. Okay. Did 22? Was that going to be a movie?
It was a movie.
Yes. Was Johnny in that?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe he was in the first one. He did a
Yeah.
cameo.
She doesn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that threw me
she's
off
losing
too.
track.
He did a cameo, so it was either the first. They had two of them. I'm not. I think it was the second one. He did a cameo.
No, God, I have a hard time believing she doesn't know that.
Yeah.
How does she not know he was in
Maybe
the
it's
first?
all
That's
a
such
blur. It's
big,
a nightmare.
It's
and
all
it's all a
coming
blur.
full circle. She saw him on. She has to know that it's the first one.
Mm-hmm. It's probably
It's
a blur.
all a
She doesn't
blur,
wanna...
you say?
Yeah.
Is she doing that too cool for school thing? I can't remember anymore. I've
be.
moved on. I don't want to dwell on.
Could
She
be.
has to know that.
Yeah.
That's a really big brain fart. Come on, Tracy.
Or maybe it's I'm just busy now and I don't have time to
I don't know. That's a
reflect
big.
on.
But I mean, he bashed the show for years and years and years, and he agrees to do that huge cameo in the movie. That's a very big deal. You would think she'd be all over that.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still together at the time, very much so. There's
Yeah.
still 4 years left in their relationship.
Remind me though too, to send you that clip. Okay.
Okay. I don't know why I didn't see it. It's crazy. I'm embarrassed.
I'm just happy I have something you don't. Okay.
First time for everything.
First time. Oh, am I up?
Alrighty. Okay. And Christy writes back and says, on with Joel Mandel quickly. And then you said, be glad he got the checks. So at least we don't have to feel bad he turned the print ad down. Do you recall what that's referring to?
I don't know what the checks were for.
Right.
The print ad, he was always being offered print ad campaigns. It could have been either been for jeans, a Japanese jean commercial, or eyeglasses.
It's always Japanese, right? It's always like
I know. And that beer
all
commercial.
these A-list actors and their fucking Japanese, European commercials or whatever. And it's just like it's almost like an insult to your fans in America where it all you're going, well, you guys don't I'm going to hide my sellout side to the American fans, and I'm just going to do it. They don't care. I don't know if it's more of an insult to Japan or here.
They pay insane amounts.
But
overseas.
don't you think he'd get the same money here?
I don't know. I think Japanese and, anything international, they're so happy.
Well, the theory, yeah, that's right. That's where I'm kind of going. The theory is that he can hide his sellout nature much better if you do it out of America. You're not going to be castigated.
All secret money. They do
secret money, right?
DiCaprio
has been known to do it.
Yeah, dozens of celebrities go overseas to do cigarette ads.
Right.
It doesn't get any attention here.
It somehow sullies their artistic integrity if it's here, even though we're somewhat aware they're doing this, and then stuff will now, with the age of the internet, will get out anyway. You're all sellouts.
Yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio preaching to me about my carbon footprint while he's taking a private plane to the corner market. So yeah, that's all it is. Okay. Line 9.
I know. Okay. Did he had some type of endorsement deal with Dior, correct?
Yes.
And that was something that was done while you were his talent agent?
Yes.
Was that something you negotiated?
Myself and a woman who no longer works at UTA named Lisa Jacobson.
Okay, and how long a deal was that for?
4 years.
And you're both Jews?
No.
Did he have any other brand endorsement deals for UTA during the time he was with you?
He had offers, but no other deals.
Okay, that was the one. The Dior was the one that got done, correct?
Yes, it's still ongoing.
Right. And there was a reason why other endorsement deals didn't get done, or was it just never the right one came along?
Both.
You've seen these, I guess they say, a parody of himself. You've seen these Dior as a late 80s Depp head. I am not proud of them. I want them to go. I hate every bit of it. Don't care. Don't why he cares about cologne or perfume, whatever you want to euphemism you want to use. I have no idea why this one won out. Why this is your big cause celebrate? I don't know. Is it just because it paid him the most? Is that simple?
Dior is a big name. Dior is a huge name in cosmetics. But
why does
I gotta
he care?
One of my favorite things in the world, this is a little insider, is you reenacting these commercials.
Yeah.
With your perfection impersonation of him.
It's there. I mean, there's like literally 4 lines. If in the, well, I mean, 4 words, right?
Yeah. Well, there's a longer form version of this commercial that's like 12 minutes. He's in like the first 30.
I've seen that.
He's in the first 30 seconds. He gives the most pompous, overcomplicated speech about speech about swamis and Indian healers. I'm getting that totally wrong. But I was watching it today. I'm just like, oh my God.
If I dumped out Dior into a vial and replaced it with Old Spice, would anyone notice?
No. All you'd have to do is empty an aerosol can of the Walgreens imitation cologne. And you
great
told
value
me it was Dior.
Cologne.
I would think you bought me a $200 bottle of Dior.
That's the old alcohol trick people do too, where you dump out the Kettle One and replace it with Georgie and no one notices.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I just say, why does he trying to qualify this as some artistic selection, like it was down to he chose them for a specific, because they paid you I showed you on the Radio Gunk, there was a Depp thread, our WINO Forever Deppening thread, and I posted the screenshots of the salaries for Dior.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm embarrassed I pronounced it correctly. There's like a J, like in Joku, like there's like a.
I want you to say it how he says it though.
Dior. Kristen, when I met Kristen Dior, it was some kind of hypnotic hold he had over me. And I couldn't stop saying Dior. Depp. I love it so much. I'm thinking about adding a J to Depp. Depp.
All right.
See if we can
say elixir.
Say it together. Depp. My elixir. I'm gonna have my elixir. Depp.
All right. Well, you play Wild Thing on your guitar. All right. I want you to drive down the street on your way home next in a muscle car and see a buffalo walking down the desert road.
Who choreographed this? Awful. Is this a Gore Verbinski direction?
It's so try hard artsy fartsy you want to throw up. You just roll your eyes. There's a guy that did a remake. He did a parody of that commercial. It's hilarious. It's just it makes fun of the whole thing. It's so funny.
They're trying to add it's got a Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas feel to it because they're in the desert and they're in a, it's almost like it tries to reenact, like it's somehow, it's just, he's going to keep his hardcores because it looks like a Fear and Loathing, a nod to it. But it's such, like, they say the cliche now is a parody of himself, and that's what this is. And like I said, I posted the screenshots of the financials from all the Dior stuff, which is just not out there. And if you wonder why he did this, they've paid him $25 million as of 2020.
Wow.
For all of, how long do you think it took him to film all this stuff?
Sorry, I had to mute you. I had to take a drink. A day. There's 3 commercials, right? 3 or 4 maybe.
Yeah, they're broken up, and he could have easily shot them all on the same day. And
I think at this point he's so happy to have a big money-making deal with a brand name that's internationally famous. If they say jump, he's going to say how high.
The average, when I looked through, I did each year before I tallied them up to 25 million, and the average appears to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $6 or $7 million a year. As a whole, as a lump sum.
Lawyers. That'll take care of the lawyer bill.
But again, it must take him a couple of minutes to shoot this shit.
Yeah. Do what
he's wearing clothes you would normally wear anyway. Yep.
Mm-hmm. You think you were disappointed in his choices for a good 10 years? Just wait.
It can't get worse if he's going to be excised from
Mordecai 3 is coming.
WB and Disney. Like I said, this is a mixed blessing. Everyone who's mad at the Pirates stuff, you should not want him to do another Pirates. You didn't get enough of 3. I don't believe that for a fucking second. Stop sucking to qualifying every decision. You didn't want him to do 4. You didn't want him to do 5. I don't believe for a second you did. Who gives a shit about Fantastic Beasts? This is all about money. He got removed from those films because those movies underperformed. That's why. It's not about abuse. Disney and Warner Brothers don't give a shit about abuse. They have so many monsters working for them to this day they protect. It's all about money. It's because they underperformed.
They can hide their decision behind the Me Too, the false Me Too movement that this broad, the succubus, is.
And they fool themselves into thinking she has something to do with the success of Aquaman. Trust me, she is as replaceable as anything. You could put 10,000 actresses in her place. You wouldn't miss it. It'd be better. She's got nothing to do with one ass in any seat around the country in terms of the $1.1 billion Aquaman made. Nothing to do with it. I don't care how big her role is. She is the most replaceable thing about that film.
Yeah. Well, the rumor was, I'm going to whip back to this in a second, this deposition, but the rumor was with her and Aquaman that while they were waiting for that UK verdict to come in, they were bandying about the name of Emilia Clarke. No, I might be wrong. Okay, from Game of Thrones, Khaleesi, as her replacement. No problem. Put her in. I wouldn't even notice.
It's fine. Wouldn't notice. Whatever ginger you want to use.
Oh my God. How did this not come to me originally? Khaleesi
Marcy
and Khal
Turk.
Drogo. Khaleesi and Khal Drogo reunited in Aquaman.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be a much bigger story?
Yeah. All right. Sorry. Let's get back to the
all the Game of Thrones fans.
Yeah. I didn't think we'd be talking about Dior for 10 minutes.
And I'm sorry. Yes, I apologize.
No, I apologize.
No, it's fine. Were there reasons why other brand endorsement deals didn't get done while he was with UTA?
Usually he turned them down.
Okay, it is, as I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is your ballywick. I love that word.
Ugh.
It means like your like your area of expertise.
Okay.
I love that word. It's a good fake name.
You have to use it on
Jonathan
the next
Ballywick.
Gunk cast.
Yeah. I gotta write it down and remember to use it. So
Okay.
this is your bailiwick, but oftentimes actors or actresses in the United States will do endorsement deals in other countries, often like Japan, for example, that pay well and pay very well, but don't have the exposure here. Is that correct?
Yes.
It's, so he really just spells out what we just said. I forgot that was
Mhm.
coming up. Do you know if Johnny had been offered any endorsement deals in Japan?
Yes.
For example, can you remember any of the...
I think there was a Japanese beer, and that was in our last episode with our.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. The very beginning was the Japanese beer commercial. Okay. I think there was a Japanese beer, and there might have been a car.
Much respect, brother. Okay.
Over the years.
And do you know why he turned those down?
He didn't like the campaign.
Do you ever tell him that you were in favor of an endorsement, which he decided not to do?
The only one I was in favor with was Dior.
I'd love to have been in the plotting stages of that. And so, what do you see in this?
Yeah.
I see zeros. There's no question. It's solely about, it's got some pretentious lilt to it. He thinks it's, and then the money along with it. It's just gives a fuck about cologne. Is there anything stupider than cologne?
He was turned on by the buffalo. I don't know.
God, there's got to be something better out there.
And he got to play guitar. That's why.
Yeah,
he got to play Wild Thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you recall that November, roughly the period of time, November 2013, that Mr. Depp was filming in London?
Yes.
Okay, and this is your email to Joel, correct?
Yes.
You say, I spoke to Christy yesterday, and we talked about March, April. Realistically, if he doesn't start until mid-April, will we get him in advance? Do you remember what movie we're talking about here?
No.
So I assume March, April was the next year of 2014?
Yes.
Okay, you said Christy and I both get it, and we will figure it out. So far, I have two potential opportunities. One, I'm pretty sure, for 15 to 20 million. She's going to talk to Jay in London. I understand and have accepted my marching orders. We will deliver. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay, and what was that you were talking to Joel about? Had Joel asked you about getting movies lined up and signed up? And you told him, is that the marching orders that you were referring to there?
I think so.
Okay, and you said, again, we will deliver. You're talking, both you and Christy are working towards the same goal there, correct?
I could have meant UTA.
Okay, do you recall what happened on Christy's trip to London to talk to Johnny at the time?
No.
Okay, do you remember you just don't remember what she said or didn't say about the trip?
No.
Okay. Exhibit 55 is an email just 2 days later than the one we just looked at. This is an email exchange between several people, including Christy, Joel, Mandel, and Jake. At the bottom is your email, November 22nd, 2013. You write, not to be a pain, but it's going to be an important very soon to nail down very specific dates. April 1-ish for Houdini, then Lynch. We must confirm August, September for Alice 2, and November for either Pirates 5 or another picture. It really must run like clockwork to make all these movies work and the financials work. That we will all trying to solidify that. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay, and do you recall that at this point in time, November of 2013, you're working with Christy and Jake in particular to line up pictures for Johnny to do over the next several months?
Yes.
Okay, and it appears, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it appears that you're trying to set up kind of a sequence of who's going to do the movie, followed by another movie, followed by another movie. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and this last thing you say in your last sentence, you say, quote, to make all these movies work and the financials work. Excuse me, I apologize. It says we really must run like clockwork to make all these movies work and the financials work that we're all trying to solidify. So am I correct in that there had been discussions about the financial need for Johnny to make these movies over a period of time?
Yes.
Okay, and were those conversations to which Christie was a party to?
Yes.
And were those conversations that Johnny was aware of? Was Johnny...
Yes.
Johnny was aware of the need that he needed to make these movies, correct? Oh, objection, the form of a question. Okay. Was Johnny aware that he needed to make a series of movies to get money?
I don't know that he was aware of a series of movies, but he was aware that he needed and wanted to work.
And was it the role of you and Jake and Christie to basically come up with a plan and then essentially present it to Johnny? Oh, objection in the form of a question. Is that what you're trying to do here, I guess I should say?
Yes.
Okay, and do you recall what does Lynch refer to?
I'm trying to remember, but what I think it is, I think it's David Lynch, and that was something
Definitely.
Johnny had talked to David about directly, and that he had committed to. I don't think it ever happened.
Yeah, David Lynch is one of those, you know David Lynch, right? Just artsy, slightly overrated director that...
Yeah, try watching Lost Highway.
Yeah, which, you know, pretentious film fans have to say they like, and no matter what, he almost falls in that Johnny Cash thing we're talking about.
Yep.
And he's a name that comes up a lot with Depp. They've never worked together, and he just Depp brings him up all the time, and it just never happens. I've always seen his name since I've been reading interviews on him in the late '80s. David Lynch was wanting to work with David Lynch. It's never comes to fruition.
Yep. All right, but it was something he had done on his own.
And Alice too. Was there a commitment for that?
Yes, and the movie got made.
Oh boy, did it! Yes, correct.
Yes.
And then November for either Pirates 5. Again, that's Pirates 5, P5,
yes.
Right?
Yes.
And do you recall when was Pirates 5 filmed approximately? Was that
2015, I believe.
Right, okay. And then in response to your email that we just looked at, Christie writes back, fully aware we've talked about the proposed year a bunch. I got it. Do you see that?
Yes.
Where am I? Okay. Again, and does this correspond with your recollection that Christie was, involved in these conversations?
Yes.
And that she was fully aware of these issues?
Yes.
And at least according to her, she said, we talked about the proposed year a bunch. Is that your recollection as well as that all of you had all talked about this?
Yes.
Okay, and was Joel Mandel part of those conversations as well?
I don't think so.
Okay, he is copied on this email.
Then he might have been of this particular conversation.
Okay.
Because what I was trying to do was lay out the financials, the potential financials.
For everybody who was on this email?
Yes.
Exhibit 56 is an email exchange between you and Joel Mandel a couple of weeks after the email we just looked at. Now, do you recall that Joel was going to make a trip to London to meet with you and Johnny to talk about his finances?
Yes.
Okay, and did you talk with Joel before that trip?
Yes.
Okay, and you write, have a good trip to London. My fingers are crossed that everything works out for April. If that does, I'm not worried about the rest of the year. Christy and I know what needs to be done. Do you see that?
Yes.
And again, do you remember what was special about April?
No.
That was presumably that it was some sort of film commitment you were trying to get in place?
Yes.
And you write, Christy and I know what needs to be done. Again, does that refer to lining up movies for Johnny to do over the next several months?
Yes.
And what was your understanding from the conversation you had with Joel about what he was going to be telling Johnny? He was in London with Johnny.
He was going to talk to him about his financial situation.
And did you understand from Joel that his financial situation was dire? Oh, objection in the form of a question. Well, let me ask it this way instead. Mr. Chu, based on what Joel told you, what was your understanding about Johnny's financials during the situation at this time?
That he was spending too much money.
Okay, and that something had to be done to stop the spending.
Yes.
Objection in the form of a question. Yes.
Yes.
Sorry. Okay, and did you talk to Joel after his trip to London, do you recall?
Yes.
And what did Joel tell you?
That he had spoken with him.
And did he tell you what he said to Johnny, what Johnny said to him?
No, not specifically.
In general, did he explain to you the tenor of the meeting or what was accomplished at the meeting?
I can't recall exactly.
I can understand you can't recall exactly, but do you have a general recollection? For example, did Joel think that he made progress in his discussions with Johnny? Objection to the form of a question calls for speculation. Can I finish the question first, Mr. Chu? Sure. I just wanted to object before she answered it, that's all. Yeah, but not before I finish it. I'll let you finish. Did you have a conversation with Joel in which he generally told about what he and Johnny had discussed when they were in London together?
I think so.
Okay, and what did Joel tell you?
It didn't sound like anything had changed.
In the sense of what? Johnny wasn't going to change his spending?
I don't think we got into the granular specifics, but it didn't sound, yes, it didn't sound like that.
In other words, Johnny was going to continue to lead the life that he wanted to live. Objection to the form of a question. You can answer.
I don't think it was stated that specifically, but I didn't get the sense that Johnny was going to change.
And what was your sense on all of the information that you had as to what Johnny's life was at the time in terms of his spending? Objection to the form of a question. That he was
spending too much money.
And that was a message that people had given to him, correct?
I don't know about people. I know that Joel said he gave it to him.
Did you ever tell Johnny that he was spending too much money? Let me withdraw that. Did you ever tell Johnny that you had a conversation with Joel in which Joel told you he was concerned about the money that Johnny was spending?
I don't think it was, when I spoke to Johnny, it was not related to Joel. I think it was that once again, and I know I said this earlier, I was concerned about the choices he was making due to the fact he was always under pressure to make more money.
Okay, next one. Now you see, at this point, she knows his artistic integrity is going down the tubes.
Mm-hmm.
It is downward spiraling into oblivion, and she's worried his rep as the indie tortured chameleon artist is going to take a huge hit after all these movie roles that he plans on taking. She could visualize. She's been around him long enough to know she could visualize where this is all going. Mm-hmm. It's nothing like the guy she first met.
Nope.
But again, the agent wants to make as much money as possible. She towed the line or straddled the line of artistic versus money for years and years and years, especially in the 90s. She rode or die with many, many huge films. We've heard the list all before. Interview with a Vampire, Speed, Point Break. So
she's on the power list, so for a reason.
No question. And in the middle of the first page is an email from Christy to you. It says, spoke to Jake from Melrose Place. He had, Jake is Jake Hansen from Melrose Place. He took the Hansen from 21 Jump Street. And I was during Melrose Place. I remember the first watched it. His last name was Hansen. I'm like, no, you didn't. You didn't take Tom Hansen's name and put it on Mel. You didn't fucking steal Johnny Depp's Tom Hansen and give it to Grant Show and think we're not going to notice. You didn't. You didn't.
Something you don't know. You don't know about this. When Jeremy texted that he was going to call Jake, Jake was working a shift at Shooters. You choke on ice.
My dream night is to bar hop at both Shooters and the Viper Room.
Oh God!
You think Shooters is next to the Viper Room? Can you go?
No,
to both
I wonder how far
night?
that is. Who cares? Okay.
I want to play pool with Jack Wagner. Actually, I don't remember Peter Burns going to Shooters. Do you?
He may have, yeah, with Amanda when they were
I got to
slumming it.
rewatch that again. I want to play pool with Billy Campbell.
Well, Allison Parker was toward the end of her run. She had a shift at Shooters because she was boning Jake.
Didn't they claim that Depp himself had a relationship with Courtney Thorne-Smith?
Yeah, that she's mentioned as one of the.
When was that? Back in maybe pre-Jump Street?
I think so. Early.
The summer school days?
Maybe.
You know, Mark Harmon's actually in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Is he?
Yeah, he's a cameo as a sports writer at the bar.
First movie I ever saw in the theater was Santa Claus the movie with Dudley Moore, but second movie I ever saw in the theater was Summer School. It always.
Oh my God, I like Summer School. I want to watch.
I love that. I love that movie. It is so bad. I love it.
I don't know if it holds up or did it ever.
No, it absolutely doesn't.
I remember watching it going, I'm never going to go to summer school. I'm never going to go. Is there anything worse than presenting summer school to a kid? That threat is that I think there's no better threat than to keep a kid at least passing than summer school.
I'll never forget, that scene I think it's toward the end where they're trying to scare maybe a substitute or a principal, but they're trying to stage the scene like there was like multiple homicides happening in the classroom. Okay.
I gotta watch it again.
I just remember him laying there, pulling out his intestines. It's fake, of course, but yeah, it's a great movie. I need to watch it again.
So I'm on line 12 here. In the middle of the first page is an email from Christy to you. It says, spoke to Jake. He had me try Jeremy. Left word. Jeremy texted he will call Jake. Do you know who Jeremy is?
I'm not sure.
Is it Jeremy Zimmer?
That's who it must be.
Who is Jeremy Zimmer?
He's the CEO of the United Talent Agency.
Wow. Okay, and you wrote back and said, what did Jake say? And then there's an email from Christy above that says he will pay 15 plus perks and talk about Lionsgate. I can fill you in on producing idea. Not a fan. Hoping there are more things that we end up hearing. Knowing you, I've looked at it all. And then you write, anything is possible. I'm not willing to gamble on Johnny's financial future, knowing what I currently know about April. And this is at the end of the year, late December of 2013. Do you recall what this exchange was about?
Not exactly. Again, it might be about Mordecai because that was at Lionsgate.
She hates Mordecai. If you ask Tracy Jacobs what her least favorite movie was, there's 100% chance she'll say Mordecai. It's either that or Transcendence.
Yeah.
And those are good answers. They symbolize the worst decisions of his career.
Yep.
And where it all went. And it had gone wrong a little before. Yeah, it's right around. It's a good, I think Dark Shadows is in there as well. Or that's you. I'm sorry. Okay.
Or it could have been about Houdini.
Because that was also at Lionsgate.
Yes.
That's okay. And do you recall what the producing ideas were? Was there some possibility, Johnny, about being a producer?
Well, on Mordecai, he and Christy did produce in their own in their production company, which makes me think it's about Mordecai.
And did he get a separate producing fee in addition to his acting fee?
Yes.
Did Christie get a producing fee?
Yes.
Do you know how they split that?
No.
She also says, and hoping there are more things that we end up hearing about, knowing you have looked at all. So again, is this another instance in which you think they're looking to you for more work?
Yes.
Was that pretty constant at the time, starting at some point in time?
Yes.
For years?
Yes.
And that was both from Johnny and from Christie directly?
Yes.
And obviously, since you were talking from Christie, more from her?
Yes.
And it was always, not always, often about getting the highest paid job?
Yes. I lost myself. Okay.
And that's okay. And it's because he was in need of money.
Yes.
And that's what they told you, correct?
Yes.
Okay, this is Exhibit 58 marked. This is an email that's dated September 2nd, 2015 from you to Joel with a copy to Christie. And the subject is, did you tell Johnny? And then it says, he needs to make $25 million by the end of the year. What are you doing? I'm in Europe. Do you recall what this was about?
Somewhat.
Okay, now Depp's lawyers had, quote, this in their complaint that they filed in this case.
Yes.
And they quote that, and they say that this is evidence that they are hiding from Johnny the fact that he was in difficult financial condition. Hiding. That Joel Mandel was hiding from you and Depp and everybody else. And that this email proves that, like, is that the email this is about? Objection in the form of a question.
Can I answer that?
Yes.
So what's the question again? I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. What is this email about?
This email happened. I was in Venice with Johnny for the premiere of Black Mass. Wonderful movie. That was September. I was there for about 5 days. And somehow I was told, and I don't think it was from Joel, because this email wouldn't make sense if it was from Joel. It must have come from Christie, most likely. But I was told he needed a job right away because I did say earlier that in 2015 he was not working a lot.
Uh-huh.
So yes.
But when you say, what are you doing?
Why are you putting me in this position to find him any job for $25 million?
Yeah, imagine that pressure.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Imagine the level you're at now, and you're not just getting them. It's great enough to get someone any acting job
Mm-hmm.
where you're like in the top 10 on a call sheet. Now you have to get something pays.
I will do anything.
$25 million.
I'll do anything short of porn for $25 million.
But Mr. Artiste won't, or so he thought.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is where his head's at now. He's saying, I don't care what it is. He will do. How low will he stoop?
This is
If
2
he needs
years. 2 years into the relationship with Heard, right? 2015.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I got pictures of her on the set of Black Mass. Okay. All right. We're good.
Yeah, that's right. There was a whole thing, and again, that's a whole other episode, but with Black Mass, where they're flying back to New York so she could shoot, I think, Adderall Diaries, and I think that's the James Franco stuff. Not started, but it definitely got hot and heavy. I think there's a fight on the plane. It's one of the incidents, I think, in the UK trial.
Mm-hmm.
There's a fight on the plane, and he's waiting in a car or something, and
yeah, they were meeting
back
at
and
the
forth
airport.
to Boston.
Yeah, they were meeting at the airport, and she was waiting on the plane. He pulled up, as rich people do. They pulled the car up to the plane, to the stairs, and he just sat in the car. She says in, testimony, he was in the car doing drugs. I think he says
drinking and doing.
Yeah, I think he was
the whole time.
Was sketching. I don't know.
Yes.
Okay. He
That's
just
exactly
didn't want
right.
to deal with her ass because he was climb up those stairs and, oh honey, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do this? Blah blah blah. Honey, I'm making.
And her head is just blown up. As far as like, she thinks she's hot shit going to New York to do the Adderall Diaries.
Mm-hmm.
So she thinks she's really important. This movie's not going to make a cent, and he knows it's a piece of crap.
She got attention from the stoner it boy James Franco at the time, and
Fake
she was
stoner.
all riled up, and there were other options besides Johnny Depp. So here comes the histrionic temper tantrum on the airplane. Okay,
I'll
we'll get
say
into
this
that
too.
later.
I think with James Franco, I think as far as movie stars go, you want to call him a movie star. Do you know anybody who sees a movie because he's in it?
No,
I'm just strictly putting asses in the seat on name. Is there anybody in this world like sees a movie because he's in it? Does he
No.
have some massive fan base we're neglecting that he needs
No.
to be? So I really don't think anybody gives a shit he's in anything.
Mm-hmm. Nobody does.
Now that's an example of like Depp's a good-looking guy. He's good like these sort of guys who are considered matinee idols. James Franco's considered a good-looking guy, but he has zero charisma. Zero.
Mm-hmm.
Zero. He looks smart. He looks lubricious and slimy, and he
Ooh.
doesn't have it. You know what I mean? Like that's a difference. You compare like one of these doppelgangers from the next. You say they look similar or they're both good looking. He has zero, and that's the difference between what Depp is and what he is. Not just Depp's 1,000 times more talented. That's given as a chameleon and his other skills, but just pure charisma.
Mm-hmm.
Who gives a shit about James Franco in a movie?
I haven't cared about James Franco since he played James Dean in a TNT
Does he have
Direct
fans on
movie.
like on Twitter? Does he have
I don't
Twitter
know.
armies? No.
I don't know.
Listen, I'd be interested to look. Does he have anybody that's out there does he have fangirls on any level? Like
He may have had like a small fan base of these stoner guys who also follow Brendan Schaub for some reason, and who think Joe Rogan and Friends are hilarious. I have to throw that in. Okay, we'll get back to this.
Okay.
Sorry.
So you say
I don't want to cut you off. You want to say something?
No.
Okay.
No. Good. Okay.
Right.
As I said, the way they have characterized this email is that Joel was hiding from you and Johnny, and the fact that he was in financial straits. And this is you saying for the first time, "Oh my God, I know now. I find out that Johnny is in financial trouble." And is that what this email is about? Objection to the form of a question.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes, Miss Jacobs. What they have said in their complaint was that this filed in this case was that this email from you was proof that Joel Mandel was hiding from Johnny Depp and from everyone else, and the fact that Johnny was in financial trouble at the time, and that they're saying this email is proof that you had just found out for the first time that Johnny is having some sort of financial problem. Is that what this email is about? Objection to the form of a question. You may answer.
No, I already knew he was in financial trouble. I think what I meant by this is it was September, and basically I was being told he needed to make $25 million by the end of the year. So doing the math, it's September. December is the end of the year. They gave me like zero time to find that kind of paying job, but I knew he was in trouble well before this.
Ugh, what pressure.
Yeah.
That's insane. But again, this was not something that Joel had told you. In other words, Joel hadn't told.
I think Christy told me.
Okay, so Christy said, "It's my understanding that Joel was told Johnny X." Objection, in the form of a question.
I don't understand the question.
I agree, Ms. Jacobs. I didn't either. Okay, your best recollection is that Christy said to you, I understand Joel told Johnny he needs to make $25 million by the end of the year. Is that what? Is that objection in the form of a question? If you recall.
My recollection is that this is something Christy told to me that I was saying to Joel.
Okay.
That I have basically 10 minutes to find a $25 million paying job.
And how is it easy to find a $25 million paying job?
Next to impossible.
Okay, and I think that you said you were at Venice at the time for the premiere of Black Mass.
Yes, I was.
So this was around the time that Johnny told you he was mad at his sister and didn't want you talking with her.
It was either at the Venice Film Festival or right after that he told me.
Now his sister's in his shit house.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Must have said no.
Everyone's on the shit list now.
Mm-hmm.
Now she's got a lot of pressure too. I mean, either one of them is just.
She's the middleman. I would say she might have the most pressure because
she's in
what
a
else
worse
is
spot.
she doing?
Yeah, at least Tracy Jacobs at that point has other things going on.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas he might be her main client, she can
The golden goose. You
go.
gotta
Yep.
make him happy, but at the same time, you're spending a little bit money here that we are gonna need. And that's
But she
probably what
also
pissed him off. She told him, simmer down a bit.
knows he's slipping away. She knows
She knows the
his
drugs.
A-list, super A-list status, and all that comes with it. The glory days of the early Pirates days, whereas they're just clinging to that, and it's what's the word I'm looking for? The audacity of asking for that fee at this juncture in his career.
Yeah. But she's also aware of personal level, the succubus atom bomb that's burrowed her way underneath him. And he's in this puppy love pea fog.
Yep.
And nothing good will come of it. Because he was immersed in her completely.
Yep.
Because she loved the same books. The same writers. And she dressed bohemian like him.
It was either at the Venice Film... I'm sorry, that was you. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. Okay. It was either at the Venice Film Festival or right after that he told me.
And again, did he say why that was?
I think he did. I wish I could recall the specifics. All I can remember is that he was not speaking to her and that everything I needed to discuss should have been done with him directly.
Okay.
From now on.
And so starting after he told you that, whether it was September.
It was in September.
September of 2015. Thereafter, did you talk with him directly?
All the time.
So more so than a number of years leading up to that.
Almost every day.
Okay, and were you able to get a hold of him?
Yes. Oh. That's a little tiny tidbit. The sister's out of the picture and suddenly she can get a hold of him.
Yes.
Yep. So how much of that was on the sister?
Well, I mean, just the trash talking they must do every time he talks to her. She bashes the sister bashes Tracy, and they just blame each other to him probably constantly.
Yeah.
I'd love to see those.
Mm-hmm.
Exhibit 59 marked. This is an email from you to Joel. It says, with B of A, what about selling of back ends? Do you remember what that was about?
No, it sounds like it was about a loan.
Okay. Did there come at some point in time when Johnny spoke to UTA about the possibility of either getting a loan or some type of money from UTA?
Yes.
Oh, here we go. Okay, and do you know when that arose or when that occurred?
2016.
That was in 16?
Yes.
Okay, this is an email, which is your email. It says, with B of A. Do you know if Bank of America is UTA's bank?
It's one of the banks we do business with.
Okay, and you said, what about selling the back ends? Do you see that?
Yes.
Do you ever have any conversations with either Joel Mandel or Jake Bloom about a loan that they had arranged for Johnny that was going to be based upon his residual or back-end payments from various movies?
I'm not sure about the construct of it, but my understanding was that some of his back ends, specifically Pirates and Alice, all movies that essentially performed to approximately $1 billion or more, were pledged against getting some cash. I don't know how those loans were done. I wasn't involved. Okay,
but either Joel or Jake told you about that at some point in time.
Yes.
And did they tell you why it was necessary to do that? Do you recall?
I think he needed the cash.
Okay. He has to change the tape. The time on the video monitor is 12:58. This is the end of the media one in the deposition of Tracy Jacobs. We're going to go off record. So they take a break here and they go off record. Good afternoon. The time on the video monitor is 1:39 p.m. This is the beginning of the media number 2 of the deposition of Tracy Jacobs. So let's end it here.
Okay.
We're on page
One-
114 in my transcript, but ours is different, right?
No, I'm on the same page, so we're good.
Okay.
Okay.
So they're taking a break,
Mm-hmm.
and we come back to more salacious details. I can't wait. I think we're about to get into. It's a good place to stop.
This is the loan stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
this is good
brazen
stuff.
demanding of a loan. Not a loan. They essentially wants him to give it to him. It's not even a loan. I don't even think it's a loan. It's just give me the money. I've done so much for you in this Pirates franchise. You owe me to help me out.
Yep. All right, let me end
That's where we're going.
Okay.
That's some meeting.
That sounds good to me. So,
Okay.
do you have anything you want to end with other than that?
No, I think I'm good. The reading the transcript takes the rasp out of your. You got to lube up and drink. I don't even know what the Mariah Carey vocal trick is.
I don't have that problem when I talk to you.
Hot water and lemon.
You didn't catch that. Okay.
Why? Because you're why? Because you're low register, Sarah.
No, I don't have to do the lubing up of the voice when I talk to you.
Lube.
It's a joke.
Oh, I know.
Kind
John
of.
Waters. John Waters is writing a screenplay around it right now.
Ew. All right. So, okay. So we'll add in some little extras, of course, because I can't help myself. All right. We'll end it. We're almost at, where are we at? We're at 2 hours and lots of change. So, all right. I will include the stuff.
240, yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to just do the next episode of this, or do you want to take a break?
John Waters is, as far as the third installment?
Yeah. Let's do that next.
No, we could do the third one next.
Okay. Sounds good to me. It's interesting. Right. So. Okay, well, I will. Oh, thank you, everybody. Email us at thedeppening@gmail.com. We have some questions that I haven't gotten to, so we'll read those very shortly. Anything else? Oh,
there's some comments on, there's the Deppening, and the new Instagram, WINO Forever _ the Deppening, where I will be posting what I feel are obscure Depp pictures of yesteryear, and even like short video clips, whatever I could feel won't get flagged. I don't know how Nazi they are on Instagram, but I will be hopefully fastidiously.
Yeah, you set that up very well. I appreciate you doing that. We are also at 600 now subscribers to this YouTube
That's pretty
channel.
Good. That's pretty good.
Very grateful.
What's the live show now? You're gonna change it to 1,000 people?
No, I said 500, so we'll keep it. I'm doing it at some point in January.
Because you know every one of those people are going to hold us to that.
Oh, I know.
The insane.
I've already heard about it, so.
Yeah.
We'll get that done.
We get pummeled with complaints every day.
All right. Oh, yeah. And by the way, again, going back to the beginning, I do not ask this of anybody ever, and I never will. If you do want to see that full Christmas episode with video and all, go to the patreon.com/WINO Keep it as low as possible.
We're posting a tweaked version of it here. It's the only difference. It's basically the same thing. The only difference is we're putting stills to the Jump Street episode instead of the full video.
Exactly.
Same commentary. Everything's the same. The videos, the interstitials, before and after are all the same.
Yeah, and I don't.
Fan questions.
I'm not going to make extra promises about having a Patreon. It's just somewhere to put the stuff that we can't put here.
Yeah, it's really just a storage space.
If you don't want to do it, don't. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we're not going to post it here.
Yeah, we'll do the best we can. We're limited, but we want to do it how we want to do it, kind of, too.
Well, each time, I mean, once that happens, we figure out a way to get around it.
Yeah, we certainly.
Once you learn how to fix it. That's what we'll do. Is we'll put like a still. What do they call it? A photo.
Yeah, you do a great job at snipping.
Oh God, what is the term? Why can't I think of the most basic screenshot? No, but it's like a slideshow.
Okay, there you go.
It's a slide. It's not. The video. Like she said, well, I have it, and I assume people saw it. but the commentary talk through of a Jump Street episode or a movie, it might have to be a slideshow. Can't show,
Again,
City of Lies and full on here.
Yeah, exactly.
Or a movie that hasn't come out yet, or officially. I had City Lies before it came out here.
Yeah, we did. But if you want to, I don't know, if we do the movie watch-alongs or the 21 Jump Street watch-alongs, that's where we're gonna have to put it. If it was free, I'd be thrilled. I'm gonna see if I can even bring it down to $1. I feel like such a mooch. Okay, that's all I got.
You are a shrewd negotiator with Phaedra.
I know.
You're on a tight ship. You'd make a great. I mean, not only were you born to play Tracy Jacobs, you were born to negotiate like Tracy Jacobs. I could see you slugging it out with Warner Brothers.
I give in 2 seconds. I would be fired within a minute. Same time.
I'd be the worst.
Same time if I had to call a Laker game.
I'll do it.
The same amount of time I'd be fired.
Her job is crazy. Really, that is one of the most fascinating, trickiest agent she's gone through from Jump Street, literally late 80s to now.
The absolute
navigating those waters.
Yeah, who knows where he would be without her. But we will get into that in the next episode. That might be the last one. I don't know.
Anyway, great job, Sarah. Great job on the videos. Okay.
You too.
Your Catherine Bigelow filmmaking skills shine through with G's. No, seriously, phenomenal, clever, quick edits. And you make all my deafening dreams come true. Every time I give you an idea, you run with it and make it better than it should have been in my feeble head.
I try. You'll have some more, so stick around for the end of this video. Okay.
So there's 2 coming out. There's this and the Christmas episode.
Yep. This one probably before the Christmas episode. They're on the way. Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
All right.
Part 3
Happy New Year,
coming
everybody.
up next week. Happy New Year.
All right.
Come on, it's Quaaludes, the love drug. Oh, I'll put a foot up your ass before you even get close to me. Do-ah, do-ah.
Goodbye. I'll see you later.